have been beloved colleagues with us for more than 5 years. But what really sold me, had us get on the plane in the first place to go to Minnesota, was my friend Brian Newhouse said. He said that you can't, about 30 or 45 minutes into the rehearsal, you can't tell in the choir who has dementia and who's a volunteer and who's a care partner, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. There's something really special about singing and music for all of us, and I think for all of our brains, but maybe particularly for people with dementia.
Yeah, there's an energy that comes with singing. It's anyone who's ever sung knows, and researchers, we'll get to that in just a minute, are starting to understand that later. A little more.
Well, we're going to break for another short little commercial. You're going to love this one.
Great.
Thank you.
And then we're going to come back, and I want you to let the viewers know about how they can get in contact with you if they want to join the choir and, those type of things. So
great.
All righty, let us go to commercial real quick.
Oh my goodness, the mailman came. I hope my sweet little thing cookie's in here. I just hope it's in here. Let me see. Let me open this up. That's it. Sweet little thing cookie. That sweet little thing cookie. Oh, I'ma have me a ball now. Let me just get this right here. Little thing cookie. That sweet little thing cookie. Oh yeah. I finally got my cookies. This sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I'ma have fun. This package kind of big though. Man, it got a lot of cookies. Oh yeah, this is the best day ever. I'm trying to tell you, I got my cookies, and I'm gonna eat these cookies, and ain't nobody gonna stop me.
Okay. That's the early childhood part of me.
That's cute. That's very cute.
A friend that reminded that for me. I just think it's so cute because I'm in the early childhood. That's my
That's
thing.
Right.
Okay, so
Awesome.
And I just thought that was just wonderful. So I would do that. But I know you have several choirs, but I think the people would like to know how they can get in contact with you, and what do they need to do to register if they wanted to register. So I'm going to let you all talk about that just a little bit.
Sure. Thank you, Anna. If you look at the bottom of our screen, you can see the scrolling of our website. It's just soundsgoodchoir.org. As Anna mentioned, we've got registration for our fall session. We have a 15-week choir fall session. It starts right after Labor Day. We have concerts in December. Each of our concerts rehearses once a week for an hour and a half. And we have choirs in Hyde Park on the south side, on the Gold Coast, Evanston, Oak Park River Forest, Wheaton Glen Ellen, Hinsdale, and Arlington Heights. Those are our 7 Sounds Good choirs. We have the Good Memories Choir on Tuesday mornings downtown, and our Evanston choir on Wednesday morning is what we call a dementia-friendly choir, in that anyone who's dealing with early stage memory loss can join and be part of that choir. And we have trained volunteers there in Evanston, just the way we do downtown. Registration for 15 weeks is $195. That includes everything: your sheet music, professionally produced practice tracks to make it easier to learn your part, all the concerts you can possibly cram into your busy schedule so you can sing as many. We have one person who sings in all 7 concerts. She's wow. Amazing. And other people sing in many. And for anybody who is in financial circumstances such that fee is a problem, we have a reduced tuition program. All you have to do is email us at info@soundsgoodchoir.org. That's info@soundsgoodchoir.org. Tell us you need reduced tuition, and you can do all that for $50. No questions asked. We want everybody in the choir who loves to sing. And that's all you have to do if you want to be part of the choir, because we have no audition. And, registration goes through September. Some people like to come and check us out for a rehearsal or two to see if it's a good fit before they commit and sign up, and that's totally okay. So our website has all of the locations, all the times. We don't have to get into that now, but it's a very thorough website. If you'd like to support our work, if you're inspired by what we do, we are a nonprofit. We're supported partly by registration fees and also in large part by the donations of people who love our mission and want to be generous. So just go to soundsgoodchoir.org/donate and you can get involved that way.
I'd also like to announce that we have some upcoming concerts very soon in the next couple of weeks. Our concerts are always free to the public, so come one, come all. And the dates for the concerts are...
So this concert is, just to build on what Sandy's saying, this is our summer rock and roll concert. Yes. So we have a very hot professional rock band with 4 of the best professional players in the city. The first one is Monday night, July 31st at 7 p.m. in Downers Grove at St. Andrew's Church. The next one is Wednesday night, August 2nd at Temple Bethel in Northbrook. The one after that is Tuesday night, August 8th at Pilgrim Congregational Church in Oak Park. And the last one of the summer is Thursday, August 10th at 2 p.m. at our downtown home, Fourth Presbyterian Church, right on Michigan Avenue across from Water Tower Place. And all of that is on our website, soundsgoodchoir.org.
So come and check us out.
Yeah, it's nice. They give some nice concerts. I know I had a ball. I'm not going to tell you. I really had a ball. My mother had a ball. And it was really, I'm going to be honest with you, it really was like family. I mean,
yeah,
people took you under their wings and they did, all kinds of things. I'm so busy on this. People are making comments, y'all, and I'm just... So look, this is the Tina Ramsey show. This is Dr. Tina Ramsey. This is the person I was telling you all about before that reached out, out to me.
Hi to Tina.
Hi, Tina. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
And then also, she said, "Wow, that's great." Okay, but yes, and then she also says, "Summer rock and roll concert."
You should come, Sheila.
We're
it's
gonna
super
fun. Rock the house.
Super fun.
Yeah, it is. It is truly, truly fun, and I just really believe that it is a gift. That what they're doing, because singing is good for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. We're going to take another little short commercial break. And then we're going to come back because they are part of a research project that is being done at Northwestern Hospital. And I want them to kind of shed some light on that for us. So we're going to take a brief moment for this brief for this commercial, and we'll be right back. Hi.
It was short.
All right. So I think it's just a beautiful thing what's going on, what you all are doing. And I don't know too much about research and the brain. And, we really don't know too much about the brain. I found that out when my mother was ill. And that the only way, truly that they can study patients with dementias after they have passed away, and the patients donate their brains for research, so it's trial and error, really. But some of the research that I have read about singing just does wonders for a person that has dementia. So I'm going to let them talk to you about the research that they're doing. I think it's beginning to start. It's in the beginning phases of it.
Yep.
That's correct.
Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Anna. And you're correct that there's so much that we don't know about the brain in general, and there certainly is a lot that we don't know about the effects of singing. What we see and what others have told us about, and we certainly see ourselves in our choirs, particularly our choirs for people with dementia, is that there's something that happens when people sing. You know, we notice in our singers that there's a difference between how they present at the beginning of our choir session and how they look at the end. You know,
rehearsal.
Rehearsal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's true.
They're more alert. They're often more verbal, and have more affect and are just calmer sometimes. And we've had we've seen all these things for ourselves, and we've heard so many stories about how good singing is for people. But there's very little scientific evidence of that. There's not very much research about singing in general, and even less research about the effect of singing in a choir, which has its own effect because it's a group activity. So we decided quite a few years ago that we wanted to contribute to that scientific literature and give greater validity and emphasis on what it is that we see happening every day in our rehearsals and in our performances. So it took quite a few years to do this. As you probably know, if you've ever been part of a good team of anything, it takes a while to assemble the right team. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I started talking with psychologist colleagues of mine, some of whom are in the research world or in medical centers around the city, and reached out to some of my former colleagues from Rush, because I was at Rush Medical Center, and then put together a research team, including my colleagues from Rush and our principal investigator, who is a neurologist from Northwestern's Alzheimer's Center.
Excuse me, I'm going to go take care of the dog. I'll be right back.
Silence the dog. Thank you, Jonathan. And we put together a project to look at the positive effects of singing in a choir. So we are beginning that research project this fall with the beginning of our fall choir session, and we'll be investigating by using pencil and paper inventories that'll actually be administered online to have people document what happens when they sing, and does singing in a choir have a positive effect. And we feel like this is just the beginning. Our principal investigator is Dr. Borna Banakdarpour from the Meslem Center, which is the Alzheimer's Center at Northwestern. And I'm joined by two of my colleagues from the Rush Alzheimer's Center as well. So it's a mighty team, what Dr. Banakdarpour calls the dream team. And we're delighting working together, and we're really excited about being able to contribute to the medical and scientific literature in this area.
Oh, that is great. I am excited about that because there's so much limited research that has been done on, and you really don't really realize it until you're affected by it.
Yes, that's right.
I just want to let you know it's okay. You know that your dog wants to be.
He does.
Yeah.
I may actually come and put him on our laps. He'll be happy with that.
Well, I already noticed that he had come up and you was petting it. That's why, that's why they're in where?
Yes. We heard where Anna put the cats before the podcast started.
Yeah. All my friends, even though when I go live, other lives, I do other lives. So when it's just the best that way. But it's okay. It's all good because we're family, and you got.
We'll introduce you to
Moses. I just wanted to be on like everybody else. That's it. I'm fine.
He's our TV dog.
I know. Look, he's so happy.
I know, exactly.
He
Yeah,
loves his
no.
mom. He's
Well,
11 and a half.
also, Sandy, you all do something else. The sing-alongs.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that as well.
Okay. The sing along program started during the COVID pandemic. And at the time that the pandemic hit, as Jonathan mentioned, we had 2 choirs for people with dementia and 11 other choirs. And I noticed right away when we had to pivot suddenly to doing rehearsals on Zoom and making online recordings and practicing alone in our living room and finding out how badly we sing when we're all by ourselves. It had a particularly negative effect for my singers with dementia. And I think the combination of the strange experience of Zoom, which we're now feels not so strange, I suppose, but that plus the technology challenges, what I saw was that I was losing people with dementia, and I was concerned about that, because we wanted to keep everyone singing. I was also concerned because in losing that, we were also losing them as part of the community, and I was worried about a lot of them. As you remember, people, with particularly people with dementia, were literally locked in their rooms in care facilities and couldn't interact with anybody. And the last thing I wanted was for us to even lose track of them, electronically. So I started to think about how can we simplify the musical part so that people aren't having to practice their alto part or their tenor part in a 4-part, harmony. How can we simplify the music and create a program where we can just get together and sing songs that we already know, and have time together and fun and a little bit of chatting as well. So we put together the sing-along program, which is a program of a weekly program that goes by a theme each week. So one week it might be music of Frank Sinatra, and the next week it might be
Nat King Cole.
And then the following week it might be rock and roll tunes or Christmas songs, it's presented on the screen with the lyrics on the screen and the music playing in the background, and we all just sing.
Yeah, it's a free online sing-along over Zoom. And again, if you look at our website, soundsgoodchoir.org, the nice thing about the sing-alongs is you can sign up for those anytime, all year round. It's just a drop-in. So if you want to show up one Friday, you can. If you want to show up another Friday, you can. If you need to take the week off, that's cool. And one of the neat things about the sing-alongs is it got us connected to the area agencies on aging, which are these wonderful nonprofits that get money from Health and Human Services, from the federal government, and distribute it around the states and the regions on behalf of older adults. And so those sing-alongs are funded by the 2 suburban area agencies on aging. And we're very happy that for our Spanish-speaking friends, Sandy just worked with me and a brilliant musician, a man named Juan Diaz, who's the executive director of the Sones de Mexico Ensemble. Starting on Thursday, August 3rd, we're going to start a year of free Spanish online sing-alongs where all the narration, all the songs, all the tech support is all going to be in Espanol. So spread the word about that on the 1st and 3rd Thursdays of the month. That's going to be fantastic.
Okay, that's really interesting. Oh, I see so many things is basically is going on. I'm glad to see that. And is there anything else you want to tell me about the study or the sing-along, or no?
About the study, as I mentioned, the study begins with our fall session. Registration for fall is open right now.
Okay.
And I invite anybody to come join the choir and join the study. And the study will have 3 points of data collection where we ask people to fill out inventories. The last one will be in December after our December concerts. So please come and be part of our study and contribute to science and to our knowledge about the brain and music.
Yeah, one of the really cool things about the study is that what the study is, how we're measuring things is this is an online questionnaire that takes about 15 or 20 minutes to complete. It's going to be the same questionnaire all 3 times. The first time is in August before choir even starts. The second time is right when choir starts in September, and the third one is in December, as Sandy said. What's cool is we're going to ask people to fill out, answer questions about all different kinds of well-being. How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing socially? How are you doing physically? How are you doing intellectually? Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling depressed? What's your purpose in life feeling like right now? And because all of these things, our well-being is not one-dimensional, just because as human beings, we're not one-dimensional. So we want to try to see with this study, does being in our choir move the needle at all for people? And if so, how? And it's a pilot study. So when you do a pilot, it's like what the Zen masters call beginner's mind. There's stuff you don't know. So you go into it in learning mode. After the pilot's done, we're going to see what we got. We're going to see what went well. We're going to see what maybe we could have done better. We're going to
do it.
See where we can tighten up the study. And then in the second version of the study, which we're hoping to do a year from now, we'll hopefully do a better study and keep learning more stuff. It's really cool.
It is cool. It's nice. It's really nice. Now, is this just for the good memories, or is all the choirs going to be?
Everybody.
Yep.
We've already got 175 people signed up for the study for fall session, and we can use hundreds more. Yep. So if you're interested in being part of this, as I said, you can sign up right now if it sounds like fun. You can come in September and see if it feels like a good idea, and if it does, you can sign up at that point and stick around.
Right. You can go on our website and find other ways to contact us directly if you have specific questions. We'd be happy to talk about it.
And since we are called the Sounds Good Choir, and since Anna was kind enough to say earlier that we sound pretty good, you can go to our YouTube channel. Just look up Sounds Good Choir when you're on YouTube, and you can hear all kinds of stuff. You can hear our concerts. You can hear interviews. You can even hear our practice tracks because they're up there for free. So if you want to see what it's like to sing along with Who Put the Bump and the Bump, a Bump, a Bump, you can try that right now. And that's just part of the learning environment.
I hope what you can't see are some of the goofy things that Jonathan and I did during the pandemic. People laughing. I hope those are gone.
Yeah, we had to do so much wacky stuff. But I have to say, I want to give a shout out, speaking of people that do wonderful things for you, about 250 people stayed with us during all of lockdown, went the extra mile, and sang with us online. What that meant was they did these crazy online rehearsals with us, whereas our friend Jenna said, I'm singing by myself out of tune in my living room. And then they recorded themselves and uploaded it to our portal. And we turned it all, you were part of this, Anna, we turned it all into the virtual choir video with everyone's heads like the Brady Bunch. And people did this for 2 years when nobody could do anything else. And what we found actually is the people that did that actually improved because they had to learn to listen to themselves critically. Most of them had never heard their own voice by themselves. And I mean, I'm a professional singer. I've been doing this since I was 9 years old. And I was like, dang, I don't sound so good today.
And the rest of us never sang solos until that moment.
The very first song I did 23 takes before I found
I was just getting ready to say, you don't realize how many takes I did before I sent it in, and it's just, oh my God, I would be up late at night doing that.
I'm crazy, crazy, and then the phone falls off the stand and all that crazy stuff. But I guess just another thing I want to say is that when you are a nonprofit, as we are, it is so beautiful and humbling when people decide that they want to support your work in all the different ways that they do. Anna is actually on our board of directors, and she's been one of our champions for a long time. And it's been such a blessing to get to know you and get to know your mom of blessed memory, and the beautiful relationship that the two of you had is such an inspiration to us. And your mom was always a buoyant spirit. You are a buoyant spirit, and we're just so grateful to be able to come on and share with your audience about what we do.
And people share all kinds of gifts with us. I mean, certainly monetary, but as you know, Anna, people's gifts take many forms, and we
Yes,
have
right.
people who share their time and their talents as well as their treasure, and we are, so blessed by that.
Yeah, well, I am just so thankful, and thank you for those kind words that you just gave about me. I'm gonna really say that I truly um, feel like these are ordinary people that are doing extraordinary things, and they need to be more people need to know about their gift and what they're doing. So we're going to take one more little commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to see if Jonathan and Sandy want to leave us with a few words. Okay. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay.
The Homeschooling Interactive magazine is a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today on Amazon.com by simply searching the Homeschooling Interactive magazine. The Homeschooling Interactive magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy from Amazon today.
All righty. So, last question of the evening is, what do you want to leave us with? And I want both of you to
Go ahead, sweetheart.
to answer that.
Thank you, Anna.
That's a great question. What I'd like to leave you with is, one of the things that you might be hearing about right now in the news is that, our country is in an epidemic of loneliness, and people literally are dying from loneliness and lack of connection. So what I'd like to leave you with is, something we all know, but sometimes we forget, we need each other. We need each other all the time. Human beings were not meant to be alone. And so, part of what we're about is just trying to connect people, trying to create communities and meaning in people's lives, so that no one has to be alone. And one of the things we know about our brains, and this is data that's just coming out, that when people sing together, their brain waves actually sync up and start to, alpha and beta waves start to move together. So not only do our hearts connect, I think, when we do things like singing, but our brains do as well. So so we need each other for many, many reasons.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful, Jonathan.
Yeah, for me, Anna, I would say that, for me, singing has been probably the number one source of inspiration in my life. It unlocks my heart. It's the way I communicate. It's the way I teach. It's the way I pray. It gives meaning to my life. And, we've been talking a lot on this show tonight about how singing is good for you, but it's also just so much fun. And even if you don't sing with us ever, I just want to encourage everyone, find some place in your life to sing, even if it's just in the car, even if it's just in the shower, even if it's just on our sing-along, even if, and there is something. I mean, I feel like I was a nerdy little boy at 9 years old when I joined the Chicago Children's Choir, and I didn't have a lot of friends. And that was a place where I found my group and I found my tribe. And choral music has always been a place of connection and joy. And it's such fun. I always feel better after I sing. I don't know anybody who doesn't feel better after they sing than they did before. And, we've all been given a voice. So let's use the voices that we have. And I think that's, if each one of us is happier, it's a happier world. So whether it's singing or not, find your joy and do it all the time. And that's going to help lift the whole world up.
Amen.
Yes, it will. Well, I want to thank you both for blessing me with your time this evening to share about the Sounds Good and Good Memories Choir, because I think that's something that everybody needs to know about. And to my audience, I just want to say to you, I hope that this evening we have inspired you. I hope that we have encouraged you. And I also hope that we have empowered you to live a healthier lifestyle. Singing is very good for you. And so before I close, I always have to end with my 3 L's. And so the first one is to live. Make sure you live your life to the fullest. It's very important that you have fun in life because life is short. And so you want to think about those things and do things that make you feel good. Then the second one is to laugh. Make sure you laugh. Find some way in your day that you can just laugh because it's good for you. But don't forget to laugh about yourself because you do crazy things. So you got to laugh about yourself, and it just makes you feel good once you get that good laugh out. And then the last thing is to love. Make sure you love. Love is very important. And I always tell people what my grandmother said because she sometimes people say, well, I can't love everybody. And so my grandmother would say, oh, yes, you can. But you just have to love those with a long wooden spoon. So I also want you to remember that the most important thing that you need to love is yourself, because self-love is what's going to make you happy. Self-love. And so with that, I'm going to thank Sandy and Jonathan for coming on. And I'm going to bid you all adieu as we leave out this evening. And just hold on, I'm ready. Got a few little things to show you before we leave, but here we go.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Ready J. Make sure you tune into the Michael Finkley Show on Roku and YouTube.
If I can make it through the night, just to see a brighter side, 'cause I've been working all my life just to make it. If I can make it through the night.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. I'm Michael Finkley. Thank you for joining us. Now, I've always wanted to go into the arena of radio, television after I graduated from college, but it started with my mama. My mama did radio in our hometown of Mullins, South Carolina for 20 years. 20 years of her life. I would listen to her on radio and I would say, Mama, can you play this song, that song for me? And this is when we had cassettes, right? I would record the songs and listen to them at my leisure. It was amazing. I saw how she inspired so many people and I wanted to do the same thing. When I was in college, I did my first internship at Glory Communications in Columbia, South Carolina. I didn't have any airtime, but it was amazing to see the daily operations of a radio station. And after that, I still pursuing education as my number one goal, but also I was saying radio, television. It was an amazing journey. I had a lot of doors closed in my face. Tell you, a lot of doors closed in my face, but it allowed me to start my own forum, something that I've been wanting to do for years. I sat on this idea of the Michael Finkley Show for years. Didn't know how to get started. Many people telling me to do this, that, and the other. Was scared to do it. So during the pandemic, we launched April 13th of 2020. It was an awesome experience, and we were a hit to many people viewing our publications, our platforms every week. It was amazing. It still is. Still having people come out to reach out to you saying, I want to be on your platform, which is an amazing thing. So today I was able to interview two of my influences, more so in the industry. They have been in the industry now for 30 plus years, which is, they know what they're talking about. We have Curtis Wilson of ABC Columbia, and also two radio personality of the Big DM, also in Columbia, South Carolina, and also Les Trent, senior correspondent of Inside Edition. So don't you go away, y'all. In for another treat. We'll be back.
Next, we have Curtis Wilson. Back in a moment. Next, Finkley.
Fitness saved their lives.
Chris Waddy and Del Robinson tell their stories.
Next, Finkley.
Monday.
Hey everybody, my name is Arthur Vernon R. Matthews Jr. I just wrote a new book called Family Ties, and I also want to say a special shout out to one of the kids that I mentored and has got his own TV show on Roku, Michael Finkley, and this is 100th episode. So if you guys want to really hear about this book and see what's going on, check out Mike Finkley on The Finkley Show.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Y'all, my next guest beside me, he is a TV and radio personality and also an officer of the law. We have Curtis Wilson. Thank you for being with us, Curtis.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I must ask, when did you know and realize the potential of your voice?
Very young age, when a lot of folks would talk about my voice when I was like a kid growing up in Brooklyn, New York. But then I don't know what happened, but I had this affinity for radio. Always wanted to be a radio personality since I was a youngster up in the projects. Yeah. Mom used to give me the broom, tell me to go sweep up, and I'd be in my room pretending that broom was my microphone as I was listening to the radio. So yeah, it's been instilled in me as a kid.
Wow, what were some of your major influences to be that personality?
Listening to Frankie Crocker, one of my favorites, personalities in New York at WBLS, along with Ken Spiderweb, and then just the love of music. Being a DJ as a kid, I remember didn't have equipment. Grew up in a project, so didn't have a lot of money. And as a kid, we would make our extra money by cleaning up the community center after parties. And in one particular night, we were there, and the DJ didn't show up. So it was like, I thought it was my opportunity. And only thing I had in the house, my parents had, was this big stereo that had the turntable, the little turntable in the top. They actually believed in me. They put that big old thing on a dolly, rolled it all the way down the community center. Now in the house is loud, not loud in the community center. But that was my first taste of being a DJ. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. And as life went on, did you even realize that you will be touching the lives of others through your golden voice?
I hear that a lot, but of course with me, I keep my feet planted firm on the ground, don't get the big ego head, and just do what I do because I love doing it. But I do appreciate the folks who, tell me they appreciate what I do, the laughter I bring, or the great information that I give them as well. So I just strive to do the best every single day. Every single day, you have to give them 100%, because you never know when it's going to be your last show, or you never know what you're saying, how it affects other people. So that's why I always try to keep it positive.
Gotcha. Definitely. And through that positivity and through you being humble, you have been successful in your own right. What type of success have you seen in these many years in this industry?
Well, for me, being able to be in radio for as long as I've been at DM just over 30 years, but I've been in radio itself probably over 45 years now. So it's been a long time in the business doing radio. And the doors just continue to open up. When you have a great personality and great positive attitude, people like that and they gravitate. And so here it is. I was doing radio here in Columbia, never did TV before in my life. And the general manager calls me out of the blue, asked me if I'm interested in doing that. That opened up the door. And then being on television, kept showing African-American faces on TV. And I felt it was also my duty to try to do something to combat that, which is why I crossed over also into law enforcement. And Sheriff Lott welcomed me as well. So the doors just kept opening up. And then the opportunity doing what I do, being out in the public, University of South Carolina calls me to say, hey, we want you to be a part of our athletics program to create fun in the atmosphere and the energy on court. So the doors just kept opening up. So to me, those were the blessings of doing what I do every day.
That is amazing. Amazing. Oh my gosh. And as we said before, you have been a mentor in my mind. I've always wanted to go into radio and television. My mom was in radio for almost 20 years in our hometown of Mullen, South Carolina. And when I got to Allen University, my last year, I actually did an internship at Glory Communications right there in Columbia. And it was just amazing. It was just an amazing thing. And so when doors were open, were always closed in my face to the industry, I'm like, I'm just going to start my own platform and bring it my way. So in my mind, you've always been that driving force for me. And I want to say thank you. And when you said yes and saying you will talk to me, I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. I appreciate it too. No doubt about that, And also too, real quick, I also have to give big shouts to Benedict as well, because Benedict also opened doors for me, not only, to do the athletics side of things, but also the academics, because I never went to college. I was able to do radio and television without a college degree. And Benedict offered that to me. And I was able to go to classes while doing radio and TV and being physically in those classrooms. It was a tough time, but of course, I believed in myself. I believed in family, and I also believed in God. God wasn't going to put, more on my shoulders than I can handle, but just stayed the course and was able to accomplish that mission too. So big shouts to Benedict.
Benedict College, HBCU love over here. That's what it is. That's what it is. Wow. Yeah. And as you were talking, you remind me of the scripture, a man's gift will make room for him. God will qualify you. So you are an example and a definition of that. So, wow, that's just amazing to hear. So inspirational. And so as you talked about your time in law enforcement as well. Is this something that you always wanted to do as well? Or was there another opportunity for you?
Yeah. For me growing up, I wanted to be either a lawyer, radio personality, or get into law enforcement. Now, I didn't become a lawyer, but I do debate a lot. But I was able to accomplish my dreams of being on TV and my dreams of being in radio. So when I go out and I talk to these youngsters, I tell them, no matter where you come from, it's within you. You're capable of accomplishing your dreams. Nobody can stop you from doing that but you. I mean, my GPA was low out of high school. Again, grew up in the hood, didn't have much. But accomplishing these goals, just staying the course and staying focused and not letting anything or anyone deter me. That's what people need to understand when you're young and you try to find yourself. That's all you got to do.
Another driving force. You keep that personal success where you see yourself in the future. And so what's next for Curtis?
I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach at Benedict. So I have my degree, but I need that master's in order to really teach. And when you stop going to school, it's tough to pick up and go again. But but maybe an adjunct professor or something like that. Or, to me, when people call me or they send me messages and ask me about getting into broadcasting and so forth, I'm teaching them that way as well. May not have that degree, but I do reach out and I'll let them know any knowledge that I have, because what I have, I can't take with me. So why not share it, So, yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. And that is another form of teaching, as you said. You don't need, as God has proven to you time and time again, you don't need that piece of paper. You have the experience, and that door will open up for you because you have a made-up mind and wanting to do that. What type of advice would you give to those that are seeing you right now and saying, I want to be just like him? What would you tell them?
I want them to be better than me. Go that extra step to do something that no one has done. Because we always talk about, break out of that square and whole 9 yards and this and that. But to me, be you, but learn from others. See what others are doing, take it in, and then make it better and take it and make it your own. Because in radio right now, as you know, it's changed a lot. You got syndicated radio, you got voice tracking, you got it's just a whole bunch of, it's just totally different. So for somebody who wants to get into radio and be that radio personality, you can't just say that was as far as the song was, or tell me about the weather. You gotta be able to tell me something that's gonna capture me and make sure I'm being entertained by what you're saying. So go that extra step, do your homework. I show prep every single day, sometimes twice a day, because I wanna make sure that whatever I'm saying is gonna be interesting to you. And that person who wants to get into this business they have to be hungry. They have to be willing to go that extra mile to put that work in, so that therefore they don't sound like somebody across town. They don't sound like somebody who's next door. They want to be them, but be creative, be entertaining. Make me feel like I'm gonna miss something if I don't listen to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. And where can they see you or even hear you?
Well, of course, I'm on the Big DM 101.3 FM in Columbia, and I'm on 6 days, 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. And then I'm also on in Greenville at 107.3 Jams, and I'm there on Saturdays from 2 to 6. And then on television, Monday through Friday, you can catch me on ABC Columbia Channel 25, 5 to 7 a.m. And then with Richland County, you might see me anywhere.
Just about all about. Oh, wow. Wow. What can I say? Y'all, it's Curtis Wilson. Thank you for being with us and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, and your experience through your words. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do, and keep doing what you do, because trust me, somebody's listening, somebody's watching, and they're taking everything that you do to heart. And that's a great thing. So God bless you.
Thank you so much. Back in a moment.
Coming up, Les Trent. Back in a moment.
Hi, my name is Ashley Bates. I'm formerly from Nickelodeon's All That. You can catch me on the Michael Finkley Show on the Roku TV and YouTube.
She is flexible, and she is a multitasker. She is a wife, a mom. She is city councilwoman.
When I was growing up, Mom worked outside the house, and so my dad was an entrepreneur. I saw him leaving early in the morning or late at nights to go meet with clients, and he was always one who told me, if you show up on time, you're late.
I just admire how she's able to not only juggle the demands of her jobs, but keep her family really first.
The outstanding thing about the Isaac family is their noble contributions to improving the quality of life for our Colombians and people all over this state.
I,
Tamika Isaac, do solemnly swear.
discharge the duties thereof, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and
I first ran because I saw a need. I saw a void that needed to be filled, a voice that wasn't there. And over the last several years, I feel like I've been able to be that voice.
So often as women in whatever spaces that we're in, we are often discounted because we're a mom or we're a wife or we have this career, and she's an everyday woman who shows women what excellence looks like.
She has walked the walk of being a small business person, of being a parent, of sending her kids to school.
Columbia is a great place, and we have done a lot in the last few years as far as law enforcement. But law enforcement can't do everything, nor should it do everything. We have to really expand upon the tools, technology, and community policing, investing in our communities so that law enforcement is a partner with our communities. Being a Columbia native, I've seen the way this city has grown. It's grown to the point that sometimes not everybody's been a part of that growth. I want to make sure that communities, specifically communities of color, make sure that they are part of Columbia's present and its future. I want to have a climate plan for this city that not only helps us be sustainable, but also helps provide opportunities for folks in the workforce. There are so many opportunities to take advantage of technology, green energy. I want to be the advocate for growing our city and being on the forefront, not just looking at what other cities are doing and following them, but being the leader.
If you don't have the right leadership, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities.
I think having a woman as mayor of the city of Columbia is long overdue.
I'm Tamika Isaac Devine, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Columbia.
Need a little motivation? Timothy Clifton is with us every week on Mondays to get your week started with a little motivation, all here on The Michael Finkley Show.
Hey, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now, my next guest, I know you've probably seen him before. He is a Emmy-nominated senior correspondent of Inside Edition. He is Les Trent. Les, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Michael. Virtual high five.
Virtual high five, sir. It is an honor to be in your presence, sir.
Pleasure talking to you, Michael.
Like I was telling you before, I grew up watching you literally with my grandparents, watching the stories leading up to Inside Edition. I still watch it on YouTube as well and all that kind of good stuff. So, Les, when did you actually know that you had a voice as a gift?
Wow, I was very young and I was always on stage doing something. Whether it was reading something at an assembly or singing in church, I always wanted to be on stage. But when I got to high school, I really thought that I was going to be an architect because I also loved drafting. And I had a drafting teacher in the 10th grade, and I'm like, listen, this is what I want to do. And he looked at me and he goes, you know, there's no money in architecture. Now, I think he told me that probably because I was not very good. So that's what I said. Oh,
that's a
you know what? I'm going to pursue then what I really want to do. I said, I'm going to pursue journalism. And you know, I took a year off from after high school and before I went to college. And there were people who said, don't do it. It's a mistake. You'll never go. But I said, I am absolutely going to college. And I did. I grew up in Canada. I'm half Canadian. My mother was Canadian.
Really?
Yeah. I went to college.
Facts.
Yeah, I went to college in Toronto, Seneca College, and I was lucky because I'm half American. So my father was American, my mother was Canadian, and we lived in a border town at Buffalo. So Buffalo was on one side, Fort Erie, where I went to high school, was on the other side. And when I graduated from college, I went back to Fort Erie for a couple of years, and I got a job at the newspaper in Fort Erie, Canada, and at a radio station in Buffalo. So I would go back and forth across the border every day. And it just sort of went from there. I was lucky enough to have some great mentors along the way. Again, I always knew that I wanted to be on television, but I had no problem starting off in radio. I loved radio. I'd be there today if it worked out that way. It would have been fine by me. And I did, I worked at 3 or 4 radio stations. I worked at a black radio station in Buffalo. You know what the call letters are? WBLK. They've been around. That's right. Anyone watching from Buffalo, they know WBLK is still around. They are a powerhouse. So I worked there. I worked at a couple other stations, and then I finally got into television behind the scenes as an associate producer, and I just I would go out with reporters every once in a while and steal their tapes and put a tape together, and I got on air from there.
Wow. So when was in your mind, when was your big break? When did you say, I think I can do this for real?
Well, it was after I started as a weekend producer. First of all, my job was I was a associate producer. So my job was to sit down with the producer every night. He or she would give me a bunch of stories to write, and I'd have to write them, go in with the editor, and that was my job as an associate producer. Then they made me the weekend producer, which meant I was in charge of 4 shows. So I was in charge of the 6 and 11, both Saturday and Sunday. And I was this young kid, fresh out of radio, fresh out of college. And I had to do everything. So I had to tell the assignment editor what I wanted covered. I had to write most of the show. It was a skeleton staff. Yeah, it was crazy. And I had to back time the show to 30 minutes. So I had this good friend. He was a sportscaster named Brian Blessing. And if I ever came up short, because it's hard to write 30-minute show, right? I mean, the only other thing you have is weather and sports. That's and everything else was on me. So this sports guy named Brian Blessing, I would say to him, Brian, I need you to fill like 2 extra minutes tonight. He's like, I got you. And he was so good. And that's another, you learn from people like that, because I would watch him. He would write out maybe 3 words, and then he'd have a producer who would put all the highlights together, and I would watch him, and he'd be just like this. He'd be looking at the screen, he'd be looking down at the monitor, he'd be doing this, and he was like, it was a work of art. It was amazing. So I learned from people like that in Buffalo, and Buffalo was such a small town that, you got to do everything. You had to do everything. Right. You had to. We weren't shooting. Reporters didn't shoot back then, but we did have to go out and we went out with a camera person, and we had to sit there for hours of recovering a court case, and then you'd have to come out and you'd have to somehow regurgitate what just happened in court and do a live shot, and it was like trial by fire. But I learned everything I really need to know in Buffalo. And you asked the question when I think I got my big break. My big break really was finally getting on the air, because, I would say to them, listen, I really want to be a reporter. And they go, well, we don't have an opening. We like where you are. And then I got a job offer from across town. And so they put me on air as a reporter like 3 days a week, and I was still producing the weekends. And then I got another job offer from across town to be the weekend anchor. And I was like, okay, I got to go. So I went across town. There was, in weekend anchor, it was also tough because I did the 6 and 11. And I had a black female co-anchor. We were the first all black anchor team in Buffalo. It was me and my good buddy to this day, Sandy White. And we co-anchored the 6 together, and I anchored the 11 solo. So there were many times where after the 6 o'clock news, I would go out with the camera guy and shoot a story. And I'd come back and I'd write it. And sometimes I would edit it myself. And we had this working newsroom, which was crazy because you'd be sitting here like this, and the edit room is right there. And the control room's over there. So you're sitting there, and you could actually, there were times where you'd be reading the lead story, and you can see, because I can see behind me right now, you would see that the editor is running the tape into the control room. So you're like, should I stall now before we get to it, or should I start the newscast on page 2? So all of that craziness was just great training, because once when you do all of that, then when you get to a market like San Francisco, where I went next, you don't do half of that. So everything's like a cakewalk from there.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Oh, yeah. It was insane.
Wow.
But I love it.
And all of that experience, I'm sure, helped you to where you are now. We know you're from Inside Edition. How did that come about for you?
Well, when I was in San Francisco, you talk about how you used to watch the show with your mom. And I also loved the show. And it came on after our newscast in San Francisco. I worked for a TV station called KPIX, and it came on after us. And at the time, it was the story about the Long Island Lolita, Amy Fisher. Remember, Amy Fisher was the one who shot her lover in the face. Yeah. So I would watch that every night after our newscast, and I'd be sitting there like this. What? This is insane. So then I get this phone call from the producers of Inside Edition, and they go, hey, we are starting a sister show called American Journal. Would you like to come aboard? And I'm like, sure. And it was a little bit different from Inside Edition because we did longer form stories. Our stories were about 7 minutes long. Our show would only have 3 stories in it. And when I traveled, I would be gone for a week, and I would come back with 10 tapes. And we had such a huge staff back then. I would take those 10 tapes to a tape library. Someone in the library would transcribe everything on that tape. So they would say, okay, shot 1 is a dog walking down the street, and then they They would transcribe the entire interview. And then when I went to sit down to write my story, all I had to do was look at the transcript, see where my sound bites were, see where my video was, and then write it from there. None of that exists anymore. First of all, reporters barely write anymore for a syndicated show because we do so many stories in a day.
Right.
That I'm out, I'm shooting something, I'm sending it back to the studio. I can even voice my stories now from home or even from the car. You know, I've got a microphone, and it's got an audio interface that goes into my iPhone. And you know, you could do it on a busy street, and it's broadcast quality. So that has changed everything. And we do it a lot more now because of COVID, in fact, because we were doing 90% of our work from home,
right,
or on the road. What I do now is I rent a car every week, and I drive and meet my camera crew wherever I have to meet them. And you know, the producer will send the stuff back to the office. Everyone's working from their own home. So the producers at their house, the editors at their house. There are a few people as a skeleton staff in the office, the people who are putting the show together. And we all sort of just do our thing at home and send it into the server. Then it's somehow gets done. It's insane.
But teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
All working together.
I say that every day.
All working together. I love that. I love that. And so being in this industry for over 30 years, how many times have you heard no?
Well, in what respect? I mean, you talking
in the
about
respect of you wanting to gain, I guess, that next level of success that you see yourself in, or even in starting off to get to where you are at this point?
That's a great question. You know why? Because I think when I was anchoring in Buffalo and I had an opportunity to go to San Francisco as a reporter, I knew that once I got to San Francisco as a reporter, that I would probably never anchor again. And it's only because news directors see you in a certain way. If you come there as a reporter, it's not as easy to go then to become the main anchor. Not for those of us of color, because you know we get pigeonholed. There's only so many of us who can be the anchor. There are only so many of us who can be the general assignment reporter, and I certainly encountered that. So I think the biggest no I got, and it was wanting to get back to the anchor desk, and again, it was just, you know, the opportunity in their mind never came up. So, you know, what I chose to do instead of first of all being down about it or wanting to go to a smaller market and start over as an anchor, I just said, you know what, I'm going to be the best darn reporter that I can be. And so I gave up that idea that I wanted to be behind the anchor desk, and I think it's suited me better anyway, only because I would be bored out of my mind. I just love being in the field. Every day is different. I swear, Michael, there are days where I don't know 1 minute to the next who I'm going to be interviewing. Someone will call me from the assignment desk and say, we have an interview with this, you know, this Olympian gold medalist, and I'm like, oh, okay, who is it? And here I am. I'm like, let me do some research, and you know, I don't have time to talk to a producer about what they need from this person. So that experience just comes in where you just know, okay, you know, we're talking about Simone Biles, so I know that I need to talk about, you know, what it's like psychologically to sort of lose that edge or to not have the confidence, and how do you get over that? And so it's you know, it's again, all of that stuff comes from the craziness that I encountered in Buffalo, from, you know, flying by the seat of my pants.
Wow. You mentioned earlier about you being a person of color. in this industry, the good, the bad, the ugly. I know you've probably heard and seen it all. How has it been for you in these 30 years? And in your experience, has it gotten better?
Oh, has it gotten better? Mm. Better. I think we talk about it less today than we did back when I started.
Really?
Yeah, we do, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately
Wow.
because if you look around the landscape, if you look at all the markets around the country, you will see a lot of us, and a lot of us anchoring in towns that are predominantly white and anchoring in more suburban places. But um, of course, if you're just starting out, it is difficult. I'm trying to figure out whether or not it's more difficult now than it was when I started. And the reason I put it that way is because, as I said to you before, there's so many avenues now to get noticed online.
Yeah.
And I think that there are a lot of young Black stars and people in local news who really are doing incredible stuff. It wasn't that easy for me when I was first starting out, because I think there was more of a thing about, like I said, there's going to be, one anchor, one Black reporter. There was an old friend of mine who before I actually knew her, called me up because she knew I was anchoring in Buffalo on the weekends, and she had been offered a job anchoring on the weekends. And I said to her, well, I would take the job. I said, just know this. I said, you're going to leave this job as a weekend anchor, because I know how the market is in terms of, promoting people of color to the main anchor job. And unfortunately, I was correct. So I have over the years encountered that sort of quota system. And, I've always belonged to, I've always tried to belong to, the Black organizations in town, because we lifted each other up. We would always tell people about jobs that were coming up, or things that we knew about, or if we were leaving, we would tell somebody because we knew that they could come into that job. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience, and I think when it comes to being a Black person in the newsroom, the biggest impact, I think, is just on the decision making. You have to always speak your voice. I do. The Black producers I work with do. We will always say something is not right. And it's not bad intentions from the people who don't get it right. It's just lack of knowledge. It's just a lack of experience with other cultures. I always say that I'm bilingual. I could speak between the lines of what someone says in a script, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, we can't say this shit. Excuse my French. So I think I've always tried to use my minority status to educate. Has it been hard? There've been some hard times, yeah. Not as hard for me as for others, only because I got lucky in that I found something that I love, and I didn't have to do a lot of moving around. I've only moved twice for work, in 30 something years, 2 or 3 times. But I mean, I moved around this area, but it was still in the same job. Yeah. So I think I've been fortunate that way, that I didn't have a lot of, like some of my friends had a more difficult time moving from place to place, or you know, losing their job and trying to find another. You know, I lucked out, and I'm extremely lazy, and so I just stayed.
I'm extremely lazy. Well, we know that now, Les. We know that now. Oh, wow. So through it all, you told me earlier that you speak with a lot of students that want to pursue the things that you have done and what you're doing now as a journalist. What encouraging words would you say to these students? Even persons that are watching now, they're saying, I want to be like them.
I would say this. I had so many people growing up friends' parents who would say to me, and teachers, this is unrealistic. You're never going to do it. And I was never, ever, it never bothered me when I heard that, because I always knew that this was what I wanted to do. And I say to students all the time, if you are absolutely certain this is what you want to do, you will find a way to do it. And again, I think that you have so many more opportunities today than we did back in the day to get your face in front of somebody. For us, back in the old days, to get your face in front of somebody, you had to, you know, send them a physical tape through an agent and do all these things. I see stuff online all the time with people who have put together their own sizzle reel. And, you know, imagine the advantage of putting that sizzle reel together and being able to email it to somebody over having to send a physical tape through an agent or something like that. And I'm not saying that agents are not a good thing. I think agents are great when it comes to getting your first job. But don't do it unless you've got a good, polished tape together. I don't care where it comes from. If it's something that you did from college or something you do on your own. And that's another thing that you can do today that we never thought about doing back in the old days, and that is shooting your own story. You know, if you were out there in the street and you come across some crazy accident or some sort of police misconduct and you're shooting video, shoot a stand-up, write a script, make a story. And you never know also in this landscape who would pick it up, what news entity might pick it up. So just work it like a job. Putting that tape together, just work it like a job.
Wow. And that's advice for me too. I appreciate that. Thank you. Y'all, he is my good friend now. He is Les Trent. Thank you for being with us and telling us your stories and your experience in your words. Thank you.
Michael, it's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Back in a moment.
How you doing? This is Brad Butler II. I need you guys to tune in to the Michael Finkley Show on Roku TV via the Greater Works Network, or you can jump on YouTube and catch us there. All right, see you guys later.
Calling all TRIO, Gear Up, JAG, and other college readiness organizations. Hello everybody, it's Finkley with the Finkley Experience. I am here to offer you information about our College Readiness Cohort Series. This college readiness series includes college applications, SAT, ACT prep, scholarships, financial aid, the mental mind state, HBCU versus PWI versus technical colleges, and so much more.
You know, this is helpful because it's actually like making me change my college plan.
Really?
If interested, visit our website, thethinkleyexperience.com, or just email us at michael@thethinkleyexperience.com. We're looking forward to working with you. Next Finkley.
Fitness saved their lives.
Chris Waddy and Del Robinson tell their stories.
Next Finkley.
Monday.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I do hope that you got something from the show, especially if you're aspiring to be in the field of communications or journalism broadcasting. This was a show for you. Thank you so much to our guest, Curtis Wilson, and also Les Trent for taking time out of their busy schedules to chat with us here at Michael Finkley Show. Thank you so much. On the next Michael Finkley, we have two individuals where they say that fitness saved their lives. Fitness saved their lives. Their stories are incredible. We have Chris Waddy and also Dale Robinson, another show you don't want to miss. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Michael Finkley Show. Ring that bell for notification. We'll see an email saying, hey, new content's uploaded. Please listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Visit our website, our newly designed website, michaelfinkley.show.com. And also, you have that Roku TV, right? At the Greater Works Network, and you get to see our show on that network every Monday, every Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you miss us, we're on demand too. Thank you so much for watching, and guess what? We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Hello and welcome to Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and podcast, where we try to inspire, to encourage, and to empower you to live a healthier lifestyle. And so I'm Anna. I'm a retired school teacher. I'm an author. I'm a health consultant. I'm an educational consultant. I am a certified cake instructor, and I'm also a jury consultant. I have do many, many, many tasks. And so the purpose of this podcast is to make people aware and to share knowledge and speakers and workshops on prevalent knowledge that can help you in leading a productive and a healthier lifestyle. And by lifestyle, I mean, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of those avenues, the whole being of that individual. So before we get started, I just want to do a little housekeeping. I always do it at the beginning because sometimes, I kind of forget. So the first thing that I do want to let you know is those people who are on Facebook, you can support me by sending stars. And, stars help me really earn money to make more content, better things for you as the consumer as well. Also, I wanted to make you aware of, I do go live on Facebook 3 times a week with my jury. And my Facebook page is this one, which is down there. You're more than welcome to come and join me on those days. It is Tuesday morning and Thursday and Friday morning, Thursday evening. And I post it all the time on my thing, so you're more than welcome to come and do me there. I also go live on Thursday. On Thursdays, I go live on Facebook and Instagram with my jury. And I have I do demos with the cake and all of those things. But the purpose of this podcast was to really and truly to make more people aware of knowledge. I found that I was lacking in knowledge in certain things. And so therefore I needed to do research, and I found that if I didn't know it, other people didn't know it. And so I was given the opportunity to do this podcast, and I took advantage of it. And so I'm hoping that you all are truly enjoying it. I do have a website. Hold on, I'm going to show you my website. It is a bit. This is my website. I'm also going to show you my email. So I try to do all this at the beginning, but this is my website. And on my website, you can come there and you can become a sponsor. You can become a guest. You find out all kind of information about me and things like that. So if you can always go there. But you can also go to my website, which is this here. If you have questions or anything like that, you know that you can always go there, and you can send me, just shoot me a little email. I'm usually very good in getting back to people. And then the most important thing, well, really not the most important thing, but I asked everyone to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have it strolling down at the bottom of this podcast. And so it would help me out greatly, and I would appreciate it if you would do that. So we are going to take a brief commercial break. But before we do, I just want to let you know that tonight I'm going to be talking about fall. Fall. To me, fall is the most beautiful time of the year. Thing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. There's a part of me that many of you don't know that my degree was in early childhood education, but I do have an endorsement in science, and so science was one of my favorite studies, and so I did teach middle school science as well. So nature and all of those things are very, kind of important to me. So if you follow my life story, you will in all of those embodied here. So we're going to talk about fall foliage, okay? And the timing and intensity of the fall foliage can vary from year to year, making it a seasonal spectacular that many people look forward to and really enjoy. It is a time when nature displays its artistic brilliance before the leaves eventually fall to the ground and make its way for winter. So we're going to take a brief commercial break, and I will be back, and we're going to roll with fall foliage. Here we go.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Well, we are back. We are back. And here we go. Autumn palette is my theme for this evening. So I want to welcome you to the Autumn Palette. This is a podcast that's going to delve into the mesmerizing world of fall foliage and its deep connection to the enchanting season of autumn. I'm your host, Anna. And this episode, we're going to uncover the science, the beauty, and the cultural significance of these stunning autumn leaves. Aren't they gorgeous? I think they are simply gorgeous. All righty, so let's move on. Here, got a little. So, nature's canvas, exploring the beauty of fall foliage. And you know, it is so beautiful. This is a beautiful time of the year. I don't know. It's really, I think, my favorite time of the year. I was born in the fall part of the year, but the leaves, and it's just a beautiful time if you're traveling or doing anything on the highway or even in the streets. And I'm going to talk about that in this presentation. The coloring and all of those things is just gorgeous and gorgeous and gorgeous. You know, and I always used to tell my students how the leaves and things, began. And so we're going to move on. I just want to let you know that the fall foliage often refers to autumn foliage or fall colors. It's a spectacular natural phenomenon that occurs in many temperature regions during the autumn months. It is a breathtaking transformation of deciduous trees, leaves, where they change colors before falling to the ground. So we're going to kind of explore a little bit of that here, and we're going to start with fall foliage, and I'm going to talk a little bit about. Hold on, I got notes here, y'all, because I want to make sure I am telling you the right thing. So we're going to break it down a little bit, this into little segments, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these segments, the science behind the leaf change. There is a process, and so, you know, even I used to try to explain this to my my students at school, because during the fall, okay, I'm going to explain it to you. As the days become shorter and the temperature drops, trees receive signals to prepare for winter. They produce less chlorophyll. That's the green pigment responsible for photosynthesis. And this allows other pigments, such as carotenoids, that's orange and yellow, and anthocyanins, red and purple, to become more visible. These pigments give leaves their vibrant autumn colors. Eventually, as the chlorophyll breaks down and the leaves stop producing food, they fall from the tree. This process helps trees conserve energy during the colder months. So there is a process in that, and there is a science behind that as well. So and then the next one is exploring prime foliage locations. You all are not even going to believe this. As I was researching, I had to narrow my list down. And when I say that I truly had to narrow my list down. I really did, because when I looked, okay, somebody sent me a note. I'm sorry, y'all. And I was reading it, and I will have to get back to that person again. But as I was doing my research on these items, I noticed that exploring, they were all over the world. I had to try to narrow it down to just the United States. And I'm going to tell you truly and truly, it was too many for that as well. So they kind of broke it down into kind of regions. And so I'm going to kind of give you a synopsis of it from the region. And because it said that the United States offers a wide range of prime foliage locations for those looking to experience the beauty of autumn. So in the Northwest, they said the state of Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, and they list little locations there, but I don't really have enough time to go all over that. If you're interested in that, you can reach out to me in my email, and I will be glad to provide you with the list. Then in the Mid-Atlantic, it says the Shenandoah National Park, which is in Virginia, Pennsylvania, the Pocono Mountains. I'm just giving you. In the Midwest, it's Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. The Southeast is the Great Smoky Mountains, Tennessee, North Carolina, North Georgia, the Rocky Mountains, Colorado, and Montana. The West, California, Oregon. And then it says local picks. So you have New York, and they have listed little things, little parks like the Andronian Park and Catskill Mountain. Then Connecticut, New Jersey, in Washington. They have different. They list different areas where you can go and look at the fall for I can't even say the word now, foliage. But you don't have to go to those different states. You can just ride through the forest preserve someplace. We have areas here where you ride through the forest. I loved it in the fall, and I also love it in the winter. It's like it glistens, kind of glistens to me. And it's just a beautiful thing. Also, you can also plan trips around the fall foliage. I hear many people say that they go on vacations because the scenery and stuff is so beautiful there. And I have been to Tennessee in the Gatling Mountains, and it is just gorgeous during the fall. And so people do take vacations and things like that so that they can enjoy the scenery, and they take pictures. Even in Branson, but Branson, I was not there in the fall. I was there in more like the summer months, but it was still beautiful, and the seasons and everything. All right, so the next one is capturing autumn beauty. Some photography tips that I can give you on that, because during the fall, I mean, people take pictures all the time, but I would say more so in the fall, there are really and truly a lot of scenery, and people take, they do take a lot of pictures. So, I thought, when I'm telling you, when I did my research on this, y'all, you're not even going to believe this, that there was so much things that was taken into consideration. I am going to list a few, but like I said, if you want any of these lists, please reach out to me. They are excellent points of view. So, capturing the autumn beauty through photography, you want the golden hour. You want to shoot during the golden hour, which is the first and the last hours of the daylight for warm and soft lighting that enhance the autumn colors. It says you want to use a polarizer. I didn't even know what that was. And that's like a filter which can reduce reflections and make the colors of leaves in the sky appear more vibrant. A wide aperture is a small, they say F-number creates a shallow depth field, helping to isolate a subject and blur the background for a dreamy effect. Composition, you want to pay attention to the composition by using the rules of thirds, leading lines, and framing your subject with natural elements. You know what? I'm glad I'm not a photographer because it's a lot. It's a lot. Capture details. So you want to get up close to capture the intricate details of leaves, the veins, and the texture. A micro lens or a close-up fiber filter can be useful. And then you want to look at contrast. Look for contrasting elements like colorful leaves against a blue sky or a vibrant tree against a dark background. Reflections. Photography for reflections of autumn foliage is water bodies such as lakes, rivers, or puddles. Water conditions. Overcast days can provide diffuse light that reduces harsh shadows and enhance the color. Foggy days can add a mystical atmosphere to your photo. So we're going to stop right here. And we are going to go to another commercial. And when I come back, I will continue giving you some photography tips. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Join the She Trucking Foundation today and be a part of a supportive community of women in the trucking industry. Unlock exclusive access to valuable resources, including mentorship, educational workshops, and networking opportunities. Whether you're an experienced professional or just starting your trucking journey, She Trucking is here to empower you and help you thrive. Visit www.shetrucking.com to join us and drive your trucking career to new heights.
All righty. Break for that commercial. Let me continue on. If you're just joining in, we are talking about capturing the autumn beauty, some photography tips. I will say, and I'll say it again, I am so thankful that I am not a photographer. I am a neophyte. I'll just use my camera, but I do see people taking professional pictures. And I just believe that the pictures that capture autumn is just a beautiful thing. All the seasons are beautiful, but autumn gives you that coloring. So let's talk about the weather conditions. Overcast days. Backlighting. Let's talk about backlighting because I talked about the weather conditions already. So you want to position the sun behind the leaves or trees to create a beautiful black backlight effect. Highlights the edges of leaves and it creates a warm glow. And I was just wondering, you probably could use some of these tips also when you're preparing a video or something like that as well. Leading lines. So you want to use pathways, roads or fences to create leading lines that draw the viewer's eyes into the scene. So I really didn't know what leading lines were. So that's like a road or a pathway or something like that. So where you have the leaves showing. And silhouettes capture the shape of trees or leaves against a colorful sky during sunset or for striking silhouettes. Now the sunsets, because sometimes the sunsets can actually have that coloring of the fall in it. It's just a beautiful thing to watch as well. Patience. Be patient and wait for the right moment when the light and the scene aligns perfectly. So when you're a photographer, and photography, and some of these tips I'm sure you can use with a whole bunch of things, because probably the models, when they're taking pictures and you see them clicking, they probably can use some of these tips as well. Post processing. It says consider editing your photos in post processing software to enhance the color, the contrast, and remove any distractions. So I guess that's what they mean by when they enhance. You hear people taking photos and they enhance those photos. They cover up the flaws or whatever that the person have. And then also it says scout locations, explore different locations in advance to find the best spot and composition for your autumn photography. So these were some good, excellent tips. And there were more of these as well, but I tried to limit it because, this program is just 45 minutes to an hour for me to convey, some of this knowledge to you or information. So we're going to take another commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about the cultural traditions and symbolisms that you find with fall foliage. You'll be surprised. I'll be right back.
Oh my goodness, the mailman came. I hope my sweet little thing cookie's in here. I just hope it's in here. Let me see. Let me open this up. That's it. That's it. Sweet little thing cookies. That sweet little thing cookies. Oh, I'ma have me a ball now. Let me just get this right here. Little thing cookies. That sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I finally got my cookies. This sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I'ma have fun. This package kind of big though. Man, it got a lot of cookies. Oh yeah, this the best day ever. I'm trying to tell you, I got my cookies, and I'm gonna eat these cookies, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. Wait, what?
Marie, what you doing, man? You can't have those cookies right now. I'm sorry, we about to eat dinner. Once we finish dinner, then you can have those cookies. Go ahead, put them up. Go ahead, put them up.
Are you serious, bro? I got sweetless thing cookies, and now I gotta wait for dinner? Fine, can I at least look at the cookies? Thank you. Oh my goodness, I have waited all this time now. I got to do all this. Fine. Oh yeah. I got my hands on some sweetless thing cookies. But I can't eat them right now because bruh talking about I gotta wait to dinner. Okay, I'ma do that. But once I finish that, it's gonna be on y'all. Wait a minute. Bruh talking about cooking some food. All this is a can of salmon and some frozen biscuit. Bruh cannot cook. I know he don't think I'ma eat this. Ain't no way. Bruh. Hey, bruh. Dad. Where are you? You set me up, homie. You had me about to eat a can of salmon and some frozen biscuit. I'm not down with that. I want my sweetless thing cookies. My sweetless thing cookies. Okay?
All righty, we are back. He wants his sweetless thing cookies. All right, so now I want to kind of talk a little bit about the cultural traditions and symbolism of fall foliage. So, believe it or not, this is celebrated and has cultural significance in various parts of the world, often with traditions and symbolism associated with this vibrant season. So I'm going to give you just a few cultural traditions and symbolism related to the autumn foliage. The number one is harvest festivals. Many cultures around the world have harvest festivals in the fall, such as Thanksgiving in the United States and Canada, and the Mid-Autumn festivals in China. These celebrations are a way of giving thanks for the bountiful harvest and are often accompanied by feasting and family gatherings. The Japanese, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, I'm going to try. I think it's Monagani in Japan. It's that word again. It's a tradition which involves going on autumn leaf viewing excursions. People visit parks and mountains to admire the changing colors of the maple leaves. It akins to cherry blossoms viewing in the spring and holds a special place in the Japanese culture. Maple leaf in Canada. The red maple leaf is an iconic symbol of Canada, featuring prominently on the country's flag. It represents the beauty of Canada's forests and the changing seasons, including the brilliant red hues of autumn. Autumn poetry. Many cultures have a rich tradition of autumn poetry. For example, in China and Japan, poets have written about the beauty of fall foliages for centuries, using it as a metaphor for the impermanence of life and the passage of time. The Day of the Dead in Mexico. The Day of the Dead is a significant cultural celebration in late October and early November. Marigold flowers are often used to decorate altars and are seen as a way to guide the spirits of the deceased back to the world of the living. Halloween decorations. While not directly tied to the fall foliage, the use of autumn leaves and pumpkins in Halloween decorations is a tradition in many Western countries. The orange and black colors are symbolic of the changing colors of the changing seasons and the end of summer. Rural traditions. So, in rural areas, especially in agricultural communities, the fall season represents the end of the growing season and the start of winter preparation. It's a time for storing crops, preserving food, and getting ready for the colder months. And if you notice, if you watch one of my podcasts, I talked about preparing your yard and your gardens and stuff for the fall, for the spring. Symbolism of change in various cultures, the changing colors of autumn leaves symbolizes the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It's a reminder of the impermanence of everything and the need to embrace change. Folklore. In some cultures, there are myths and folklores associated with the fall season. For example, in Celtic traditions, it seems as a time when the veil between the living and the spirit world is thin, making it a time for divination and connecting with the ancestors. These traditions and symbolism relates to fall foliage, highlights the cultural and emotional significance of the season, which goes beyond just admiring the beauty of the changing leaves. So I know when people saw this, they said, now what in the world could she possibly talk about for the fall? But the fall has so many elements to it to really make it. You see all the information that you have on it. You can see that. But also, I would encourage you to share some of your experiences because I know that we have all had them dealing with the fall foliage. I told you a few of mine. I also talked about the Tennessee Gatlin, but also I'm from the South and I used to travel south and I would go through the Tennessee mountains as well when I went, and the scenery there was there. But also, I have a forest preserve that I go to. We go there every. I go through it almost daily, really, especially on Sundays. We go, and I love it because to go through it's so peaceful there. But it so represents this fourth season so well. And right now, it's the fall and the coloring and all of that. And also when I travel, I travel on the road. I go visit my daughter. She doesn't stay near me. And just the beauty of watching the leaves and the things as you go, the scenery and how beautiful and everything and how it just captured you. So share yours. You can always look at that website there. You can even comment here on this. Share some of your experiences that you've had with fall um, fall foliage. So we're gonna break again for another commercial, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kind of like I guess summarize. So that'll give you time to kind of think about your experiences that you have had. And it can be in any of those areas here, cultural traditions that you might want to share with uh, with the audience. So I will be right back.
The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today on Amazon.com by simply searching the Homeschooling Interactive Magazine. The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy from Amazon today.
Okay, I am back, and I'm going to give you a few key points about fall foliage in my, I guess, summary of this. Fall foliage, often referred to as autumn foliage or fall colors, is a spectacular natural phenomenon that occurs in many temperature regions during the autumn months. It's a breathtaking transportation of trees, leaves, and where they change colors before falling to the ground. And here are some key foliage points. Number one is color change. During the fall, the green chlorophyll in the leaves begin to break down, revealing the pigments that were present all along. This leads to the vibrant colors of red, orange, and yellow that we associate with autumn. Environmental factors. The timing and intensity of fall foliage are influenced by various factors, including the temperature, the sunlight, and rainfall. Cool nights and sunny days tend to produce more vibrant colors. Tree species. Not all trees exhibit the same color. Different tree species can have different shades of red, orange, and yellow leaves. For example, maple trees are known for their brilliant red leaves. Geographical variations. Fall foliage occurs in various parts of the world, but is most commonly associated with regions in North America, Europe, and East Asia. In the United States, the New England region is famous for its stunning autumn foliage. Tourists and activities. Fall foliage is a major draw for tourists and outdoor enthusiasts. Many people go on leaf peeping trips to enjoy the beauty of autumn. The landscapes and activities like hiking and apple picking are popular during this season. Photography. The vibrant colors of fall foliage makes it a favorite subject for photographers. Capturing the change in leaves can result in stunning natural photos and symbolism. Fall foliage is often associated with themes of change, transition, and the beauty of impermanence. It's a reminder of the cyclical nature of life. So, as I close, I do want to just share those summary points to you there as well. And also, I want to kind of thank you very much for joining me on this journey through the autumn palette. I hope you've gained a deeper appreciation for the vibrant world of fall foliage. And be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll explore even more facets of the fall season. So this evening, I hope that in some kind of way that I have inspired you. I hope that some kind of way I have encouraged you. And I hope that in some kind of way that I have empowered you to live a healthier lifestyle. And so as I close my program, you'll see some things. I do have some thank you people who I want to thank you who have supported my podcast. I want to thank them. So I do have a few acknowledgments at the end of this. But as I leave, I always leave my programs with the 3 L's, because to me, the 3 L's kind of signify what life is all about. And the first one is to live your life. You want to make sure that you live your life to the fullest. Life is important and it's short. So reach out and do those things that make you feel wonderful. And then the second thing is to laugh. Make sure you laugh. Find somewhere in your day to laugh. There's nothing wrong with laughter. Laughter is good for the soul. And also, laugh at yourself. You know you do funny things. My mouth was kind of dry, but the third thing is you want to love. Make sure you love with all of your heart. The Bible says that you should love everyone. But I know that's very difficult, but my grandmother gave me some great advice. And so I always try to pass that advice on to others. And that is, those people who you have difficulty in loving, they need your love the most. But you can love them, she said, but you must love them with a long wooden spoon. And so I pass that advice on to you. But the most important person that you need to love is yourself. Self-love is the most important love of all. Always think about you and do those things that will better you and make you a whole individual. So, with that being said, I am going to leave you. Hold on. You'll be able to see some of the people who have helped me and the acknowledgments as I close out this evening. And thank you. And remember to pass that kindness on to someone else.
All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Truth Talks. Truth Talks, welcome. I know it has been a while, but guess what? I'm back. We're back, and we're so glad to be here with you tonight. We're going to talk about a great subject, dealing on Truth Talks. We're going to be here every second Tuesday of the month. We're going to talk about a brand new subject, but things that matter to us, that should matter to us. So I'm going to go ahead and let Coach Ra, again, my name is Shayna Asby, Coach Shayna Lorraine Asby, which is the family life coach. And I want to let Coach Ra introduce herself and explain our mission.
Hello, I'm Coach Ra, your empowerment and life purpose coach. The mission of True Talks is to provide you with the open dialogue of real life situations, helping you to overcome obstacles that can leave you feeling stuck, hindering your growth. This is an open forum, free of judgment and bias. We are here to promote healing and growth in order for you to move forward in your destiny. And today we are going to be discussing and talking about broken promises. To give an overview of some type of broken promises that can occur, there are solemn promises, there are legal contracts, there are fairy tale promises, verbal promises, shallow promises, unspoken promises, as well as over promising. All right, Coach Shannon. Coach Shannon, you still there? We're ready to start our show. All right, let's hold on a moment to find out what's going on with Coach Shannon. Just bear with us a moment. All right, so we had some technical difficulties, but Coach Shannon will be back in a minute. So as I stated, we're going to be talking about broken promises and just kind of give some, again, backstory on Truth Talks. Truth Talks came about because there's just so many issues and topics and things of that nature that we just want to discuss. It's a lot of things that go undiscussed in our communities day to day. Just kind of the whether it's the what happens in this house stays in this house type of situation, and you just don't talk about it. And a lot of times it prohibits you from healing. So you're suffering from different traumas and different things of that nature because you just let things progress and they're just not talked about. So we want to have an open forum of honest and open conversation where truth talks, where you can express your true feelings, personal experiences. Maybe it's an experience that maybe someone else that you know has went through, and you can just share them. We can grow together while discussing them. We can learn from them. We can heal from them, which is a very important thing because a lot of times we carry things with us and we are just operating in brokenness. So we're just bandaging them up, never healing from them, but we definitely want to make this a safe haven, open space for any and everybody to come on board and discuss different topics. During our sessions, we'll definitely have an option for you to do and leave comments. So definitely interact with us. If you have something that you would like to say, feel free to post your comment. We'll share it with everyone. If there are particular subjects that you want to bring up for our future Truth Talk sessions, which happens the second Tuesday of every month, let us know. We are open to all type of dialogue and discussion. Again, we don't want anybody feeling like we're trying to downplay any situation. Every situation is something that is important. From situations from domestic violence situations, from human trafficking, from divorce, single parenting, the floor is open. The options are many, okay? So we want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and that we all have an opportunity to discuss areas of importance in our lives, and not just our lives, but our communities, because again, a lot of things go unspoken and it just generation after generation, it just adds more turmoil to what's going on in our day-to-day life because we're not talking about things. And not just talking about it, we're not resolving the issues at hand either. So just continue to bear with us while Coach Shannon gets her technical errors fixed. And we'll definitely go ahead and dive in. If you are watching at this time live and you have any questions, definitely put them in the chat. We can read them out loud. This is also live on Facebook. So there are Facebook viewers that are out there watching as well. So we welcome everybody who's here. Welcome back, Coach Shannon.
Hey, so I do apologize. Oh my God, technology these days. We had some technical difficulties. So I'm pretty sure you told them. Did you tell them about the different type of promises there are out there?
I did. I also talked about different things that are going on in the community and our personal lives, and that we have an open forum of just not just talking about it, but having us heal from it and getting a resolution of different issues. So we have that there are no topics that we can't talk about. I mentioned domestic violence, human trafficking. I mentioned divorce, single parenting, just to name some things out there, and told them to make some suggestions in the chat as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So as you heard, there are many types of promises, right? And so we're doing this series this month about broken promises. Yes, last month was actually domestic violence month. I have my little purple ribbon on. It looks like you got a purple flower.
This is pink. It's an orchid, pink orchid.
It's an orchid. Okay, she has the orchid on. But I just wanted to, make sure I go ahead and give a shout out to people. There's a lot of domestic violence survivors out there. And if you know somebody that's going through a domestic violence situation, make sure that you reach out and inform them to reach out and get help. Again, this is Truth Talks, and we are talking today about broken promises. So the 3 promises that we're talking about today are 1, the verbal promise, which is the commitment. And we're talking about the unspoken promise. That's the second one. Are 1. And the third, that's okay. And the third one we're talking about is the shallow promise, right? So yes, all of those different promises. So it's like we have promise. A promise is a promise, right? It's a statement, it's a commitment that's made. But it's like we have promises within the promises. So we have sub-promises to the promise, right? Okay, so let's break them all down. So the first one we're going to talk about today is verbal promise, which is that commitment. Verbal promise is defined as a declaration that one will do or refrain from doing something specified. It can be marriage vows, oaths, legal documents, legal contracts, that you statements that you make out loud. Those are verbal contracts. Now, the thing about it is that we make verbal contracts a lot of times when we say, oh yeah, I promise that I'm going to give you a call today, and you don't call. Or this is our marriage vow, to death do us part. We are here to death do us part. And then all of a sudden we got the highest divorce rates within America. So do we really take our promises seriously? And that's a conversation that we want to talk about today. So can you talk about elaborate a little bit more about some verbal promises or some things that you came in contact with or experienced with today?
Well, definitely the verbal promises, as you mentioned, the commitment to marriage or just to be in a relationship. Some of the things when you mentioned about verbal promises, it can be to your children. I promise to be there for you. I'll promise I'll take you to the store, and something can come up and you just don't do it. Or I promise we'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow might never happen. You could make a promise on your job and say, I promise I'll be on time tomorrow.
And you're late.
Right. You can make a promise to yourself and say, I promise I'm going to be a better person. I promise I'm not going to have the attitude. So, they could just be self-promises that you're making to yourself verbally too.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, I just thought about it when I was a kid. The one thing about a kid is that children don't forget anything. When you promise to a child, then all of a sudden it's like it's stone and they're waiting for that promise, right? So imagine like, oh, we're going to Cedar Point tomorrow, or we're going to amusement park tomorrow. I promise we're going to amusement park. Man, I promise you that kid is what? Can't sleep, looking at the clock, imagining everything that they're going to do tomorrow when we get to the amusement park. They're excited. They probably heartbeat be pounding, and then all of a sudden tomorrow comes and we don't go.
Right.
My mother told me when I was younger, she would never tell us when we were going somewhere big, because she did not want to give us that excitement. And then it didn't happen the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, like, I understand. Imagine those children who sit by and their parents are promising to come and get them the next day. And maybe they live in a single parent household and they don't show up.
Right.
Can you imagine that? Like,
yeah, that can be tough. That can be real tough. Just, yeah. Especially for the child, it is different from just an adult to a child. Like you say, children, they're holding you accountable. Point blank, period. So a child is really going to be affected by the promise of an adult saying that I'm going to be there. And if they're not there, it definitely leaves a void in their childhood and in their adulthood as they get older. I know for me, I can recall a time when my father would make promises like, oh, I'll be there, or we can make plans to see each other on the weekend. And I'm like, okay, I'm so excited. And he would be a no-show. And then that just caused me to become an adult who sat there and dealt with issues and be like, oh, okay, of abandonment. You're not going to be available. You're just saying that you're going to be there, but you're not. All right, we see that Coach Shanna is having technical difficulties once again, but that's all right. We're going to continue. So just back to what she was saying about children and single parents in homes, and a parent saying that I'm going to be there and they're not there. I had an experience with my daughter, and I had expressed this one time on another podcast that we did, where I can remember being younger and my mom worked a lot. My brothers are older. So a lot of activities and things she wasn't there for because she had to work, and it wasn't her fault, but it's just I could probably be there the next time or whatever the case may be. But it was a particular situation. My daughter, I was like, I'm going to be so-and-so. And she didn't see me until I popped up on the scene. And it was like the whole thing, like, mommy. And that thing did something to me because it's like, wow, I actually showed up. And it's the part of just showing up that made the major difference. So just making that verbal promise, it's important. And granted, sometimes situations happen and you're not able to be there as you plan to be there for your children or your family. But at least with children, try to be accountable for what you are saying to them, because they remember everything. My daughter's 5 and she can tell me something I said 2 weeks ago and I'm like, I don't remember saying that. And she's like, yeah, you did, because we were sitting down and you said da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they are listening, they are watching, they are waiting to make sure that we are fulfilling those things in which we told them that we were going to do for them. I know Shanna also talked about shallow promises. In regards to the shallow promises, those are also some things that we tend to do as well. And I mean, the shallow promises are just, they take hand in hand with the verbal promises. Welcome back, Coach Shanna.
Sorry. That's what, it ain't gonna happen again this time.
So I went ahead and elaborated more on the verbal promises when it comes to parenting. So I talked about the situation with my dad and how he made promises when I was younger, and it affected me in my adulthood with dealing with abandonment. And I also brought up the situation I mentioned before about my daughter, how I showed up for her one day. She was like, mommy. And I was like, it just made the difference to uphold to the promise of showing up for her. It made a big deal in her life. And I was just saying that the shallow promises also go hand in hand with the verbal ones. So being at your back, you can go ahead with the shallow promises.
Yes. I want to go back to verbal promises too, because I want to say this, there are a lot of people that are in relationships or have made commitments with promises that they had every intention to commit to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then something happens, something changes, whether somebody did something that broke your trust or broke that promise, that commitment, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's infidelity, whether it's hurt your heart and they promise to do something and you really, I mean, sometimes it's okay to break some of those commitments.
Right.
I just want to say that when it comes to certain things, but if you can and you don't have to break that commitment, then don't break that commitment, right? You want to hold on to that commitment because it is a promise that you made. But when it comes to certain situations, you want to get out of those situations. And I definitely say that because I was that person. I was married, married at the age of 25. I had one son and I went through a lot of situations. And guess what? I put my all into my marriage. And I put my all into my marriage so much so that I never wanted to get a divorce. That was not my intention. But then when I kept looking at the fact that I was almost in a hospital, my health was declining. I was going through certain issues. I was stressed out, everything. I had to weigh the options. Like, yeah, I do want to stay married because I want my son to have his father in the household. But is this the right person that I was supposed to marry with that commitment?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I bring that up is because a lot of times we put ourselves in situations with other people or relationships, or we make promises when we don't even realize that sometimes the people that we made promises to, or even ourselves, it wasn't intentional, that we didn't have an idea who we were at the time.
Right.
So it's so important to know who you are before you make that promise or commitment and who that person is.
Right.
So some promises you may have to break, but it's best to try to hold on to what those promises are. I'm pretty sure you hear about this, Coach Rod, all the time. We've had parents who had parents. So that other generation, they're probably in their 70s and 80s right now. And one of the things they used to say was, you better stay with that man. He might be beating on you, but you better stay with that man.
Right.
He might be cheating on you. He might have 6, 7 kids out there. You better stay with that man. Like, let's go there. That's the truth talk right there. Those are truth talks. Like, we have to learn how to hold our commitments and our promises, but yet and still, we don't want to hold on to promises that have already been broken by other parties that's causing you to have health restraints or declines. Or, like, we're not saying that, but try your best to hold on to that verbal promise.
Right.
I think it was the Bible that said, what was the scripture? Do you remember, Coach Ron?
Oh, we were talking about it yesterday.
It's better not to make a promise. It talks about better not to make a promise. So, promises are definitely important. So the next type of promise we want to talk about is the unspoken. Did you talk about the unspoken promise?
I was before you came back, I was talking about the shallow. Going into the shallow. You want to go to the unspoken promise? That's cool.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Because people, we could say promise all day. We could talk about the verbal commitment. But what about the unspoken promise, right? So the unspoken promises are expressed or understood without being directly stated, not spoken. For example, when you choose to become a parent, that's the unspoken promise. Relationships, when you're walking with someone, whether it's a friendship, when you came into that foundation of becoming friends or co-workers or in that relationship, that's an unspoken promise. Just because you don't have a ring or you haven't verbally made that commitment doesn't mean that it's not an unspoken promise. You have already made the statement that we're in a relationship. So when you make the statement that we're in a relationship and both of you know it, then that's an unspoken promise.
Right. That's true.
Those are things we don't have to say, oh yes, a verbal promise. I promise to. No.
That's like your prerequisite.
Right. We have so many people, I think, that are in situations where they're not realizing that they've made an unspoken promise.
Yeah, that's true. And I know when you mentioned about the relationships, some of the things of the unspoken promises with relationships were, am I fully ready to do this? Because that's something you think in your mind. The willingness to prioritize, which is very important. The will to put in the work for that person. And am I going to communicate with you? Also, am I willing to walk away? Which is what you mentioned in regards to the marriage portion. It's like, all right, I know this is not it. So yeah, sometimes it leads to that.
Or being able to love somebody so much that you know that your relationship together, you may be hindering the process. Well, you know what? I'd rather walk away than to lose this friendship. I'd rather just walk away. I remember somebody saying before that if you love it enough and it's worth and it's supposed to be, that love will return.
Right.
And beyond that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that unspoken promise is real. Like when you think about that, you like, wow, like can you imagine every time you come and you're walking with somebody that you're into an unspoken promise? Like if we were to think about that, we would go into different relationships or different situations with a conscious thought of like, hey, if I go into this relationship, if I go into this friendship, if I go into this or becoming a mother, like there's duties, there's responsibilities, there's obligations that come with that. It'll make you more self-conscious about who you're with, who you're interacting with, and becoming that parent or who you're connecting with. So those things are, things that we need to take seriously, right?
True. I think we forget about that sometimes.
Yeah, I think we do. I think that we're so anxious to get to the promise that we don't realize the work that goes in the promise.
That's
like
true.
It doesn't work like that. You got to go through the work in order to get to the promise, so it takes work. So I definitely agree. Can you think of any unspoken promises that you may have got yourself in where you were like, man, let me
I think definitely when it comes to am I really fully ready to do this? That'll be my main thing. I think sometimes I could jump the gun, and that could be whether it's a relationship, that can be in a business venture. It's like, am I ready to do this? Maybe there's some things I need to reevaluate, set in order, but I just like, some people just like, oh, just go ahead and jump in. Yeah, but sometimes you have to like, am I really fully ready for this? So those would be some, I would say that for me would be the main unspoken one.
You know what?
Ready for this? I forget about that.
Let's go here. Let's talk about being single. Okay, so I'm single. Are you single, Ms. Coach Rod?
I'm in a situationship.
Okay. We can take the situationship. If y'all don't know what situationship, it means it's complicated. Okay, it's complicated. So being single, when you're single and you're not in a relationship, you get so, at first it's like, oh, I want somebody, but then sometimes you sit back and you be like, you know what, I am so comfortable. I ain't got to answer to nobody. Where you going, what you doing, how you doing it, what you look like, what you don't look like. You just so comfortable. But then you had those times where you're like, hey, I really desire to be in a relationship, right? So, and you know what? I believe that it really comes with growth. We have a lot of young women out here who go from relationship to relationship, and they're passing on pain from other relationships to new relationships. And we had this conversation earlier, and I said, we need to learn how to heal ourselves or heal from the broken pain that we went through their previous relationship. So we won't take that same pain into the next relationship, because that new person does not deserve to embrace or have to get that same pain that you were holding on to.
Right. And we do that a lot.
We do that a lot.
And that's because and we say this often, a lot of the traumas that we deal with, we manage them for years and years and years. And honestly, they don't come back up until you're in a situation and you realize, dang, I didn't realize I was still dealing with that. So as you said, if you took some time out for yourself, there would be a lot of solved problems. So when you go into a relationship, it goes healthy the whole way through versus it just being, whew,
I like how you said that. Yes, I like how you said that when you said we get in situations and things happen and we don't even know that trauma is actually there.
Right.
And I just started thinking about one time I went to California, right? So I never been to Cali before. Never been to Cali. Brandon was like, one of my best friends, Brandon was like, we going to Cali for your birthday. I was like, okay, that's what's up. We going to Cali. I'm excited. I've known Brandon forever. Let me tell you something. Forever. I mean, for years, right? So I go to California and I'm working. Brandon had to go take care of some business somewhere or whatever. I'm in a hotel room, and all of a sudden my mind was like, wait a minute. He left. He gone. I'm by myself. What if he just leave me? What if he just dipped on me and be like,
wow.
What? Like, I had a total panic attack. I called like 6 people trying to get home. Like, I think I need to go home. I got some money for a ticket. I might need some extra money. You know what I'm saying? Like, where am I at? Where my mindset at? Why did I come out here? What am I thinking? You know, what is it? Like, I really had a total anxiety, a panic attack, because I was in a state that I knew nobody in. I was out there with Brandon, but he had went somewhere, and I had a panic attack. And I realized somebody else called me, and one of my girlfriends, Miko, was like, Shayna, it's Brandon. I was like, you're right. So then I had to go back into myself and say, where did that come from? It came from being put in situations to where you had no choice but to leave or to get out or to be out in the streets. And it was some things that I went through in my childhood with my mom. You know, she'll be going through some situations and she'll be like, Shani, you gotta go. Not knowing where I was going, what I'm gonna do the next day, and it would totally put me in a panic. And it put females in situations that they shouldn't be in. And so that right there was one of those experiences. So when he took me out to California, he promised unspokenly that he would make sure that I would get back safely and that we would have a good time. It was me that forgot about the promise.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. We forget about it.
So like you said, we have to make sure that we're ready for that relationship so we won't take those traumas or those traumatic experiences into that next relationship.
So true.
Yes. So the third one we want to talk about tonight is the shallow promise. The shallow promise. Did anybody know that this existed? Did you know this existed? Exactly what it looks like. It's the shallow. Let's just cover up promise. What does it mean to be shallow? Can you elaborate on what it means to be shallow, Coach Ross?
It's not even deep. It's the surface. That's it. You think you about to go swimming and you step in that water and your toes just wet. That's it. That's what that is.
That was definitely a great way to explain it.
You teased me. That's what you did.
Oh my God. When you think about a shallow promise, it's like, why even make a promise at all? Just don't say nothing. Right?
Right.
Why make a shallow promise? So you trying to fool? It was just to ease their comfort, to let them, to appease them, like, yeah, that's what it is. And you know it's not. You know, I was talking on the phone to one of my girlfriends today, and we reread a post on Facebook, and it said something like, when's the last time that you lied to a man? And this guy was like, watch these women say that they never lied to a man before. So my girlfriend goes to the fear and say, Shayna, you really trying to think about the last lie because you be telling the truth.
I'm out of that boat.
I had to really say, I'm like, oh my God. Now, have I ever lied to a man before? Yes, I have lied to a man before. But how long ago that was? It was a long time ago. So I'm not going to sit up here and say I've never lied to a guy, but I really have to go back in my mind and think about the last lie that I told a guy. Because I've gotten to this area where I'd rather tell the truth. Truth talks.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a lie. I would call it a fairy tale promise. I just left out the small print. Like, you know.
It was between the lies. It was between the statements, the words that was
right.
No, I got it. Because I used to be bad at this. I didn't tell the lie. It's just that I didn't say nothing at all. It was just
right.
I knew what the truth was, and I'd rather just not bring it up because I didn't want to get caught in the lie. So I just rather just go around the lie. That's how I kept myself out of trouble.
That's a good one.
So a shallow promise. Like my thing is with this is that shallow promises hurt. They hurt people. The people who make shallow promises, they don't have a care in the world for the person that they made that promise to.
Ooh, yes.
And so it's like, why even make the promise? And then at the same time, think about how what goes around come around. And what if that person made a shallow promise to you, and how would you feel about that promise being made? So we need to think about the type of promises that we give people, the type of promises that we speak, and the ones that's unspoken. We have to learn how to walk in with people who are like us. And if we don't like the people that we're hanging around, then there's something within us that we need to change in order to make better decisions about who we are around.
Right.
And ourselves, because it starts with self first.
Definitely.
It starts with self first. So those are the 3 promises that we want to talk about tonight. Or we talked about tonight was the different type of promises. And so I'm going to ask you, the audience out there, when's the last time you made a verbal promise or unspoken promise or a shallow promise? And how did it turn out? 2, is that spouse or that relationship that you're in, is it the promise that you were looking for? Or better yet, is that the promise that you deserved to have? So again, audience, I just want to ask that question, like, where are you when it comes to promises? So do you have any ending words or last words, Coach Rod, in regards to promises?
Definitely, if you're going to make a promise, uphold to it. Because breaking them could, like I said earlier, it can lead to a long time of issues, especially when it comes to children. When you make them promises, I think more so children. I'm more concerned about making a promise to a child than an adult, honestly, because as I said, my daughter can remember something from 2 weeks ago, tell you exactly where you was at, what you said exactly verbatim, and you be like, oh, okay. They are going to remember. And not just then, when they get older, you'll sit there and be like, oh, I remember 30 years ago when so and so and so, and you said, what you doing so and so and so. You be like, wow. So if you're going to try to make that promise, or if you're not try, but if you're making that promise, do your best to uphold to the promise. Or don't do the fairy tale promise. Let people know what those hidden agendas, not even a hidden agenda. Let that small fine print. It could simply be like, listen, I'm telling you this, but don't hold me accountable if I can't make it happen. Because let's just say I say, when you turn 18, I'll buy you your dream car. Let's say financially, when you're 18, I don't have the job to purchase that dream car. So let them know that the stipulation, so we might have to have an alternative. That promise might have to be tweaked just a little bit, but let it be known. So all that fine print, let that fine print be known. So it's like, okay, I'm getting this brand new car when I turn 18. And then when that time comes, you like, I didn't ask for this Honda. I wanted the Bentley. Yeah, but my money said Honda. you know? So yeah, definitely. If you're doing those type of promises, make sure that fine print is talked about, brought to the forefront, and you're upholding to whatever it is that you're stating that you can do.
Yes, I like that. I definitely like that. Well, my last words with promises is make sure that you are walking in promise. And what I mean by that is that promise is not always verbal, and it's not, as you said, as we saw, it's unspoken. Some might be shallow, but at the same time, be in the action for the promise. Make sure that you are exactly what that promise is. And that builds up trustworthiness, that builds up character, it builds up all these things that's great within about you. And please believe that when you make false promises, people actually judge you from that false promise. So we need to start thinking about that. Anytime we come into relationship with people, anytime we take a contract, sign a contract, a verbal agreement, make a statement, These are promises. And if you feel like that you cannot uphold to that promise, then don't make the promise. Another promise that we didn't even talk about, and I'm gonna tap on it 2 seconds, is over promising. We can have the best intentions for something, right? And we got so much on our plate already, but because we want to make this person happy, or we want to do this over here, we overly promise. I'm going to these mothers out here, moms. We over promise because we have so much on our plate already. We need to start taking things off our plate so we can know we can hold those commitments with the promises that we already have.
Right.
So that is what I have to say about promises. Make sure that you are connected to the promise. Don't abandon the promise. Think about the promise. And also reflect on the type of promise I'm giving, who I'm giving it to, and who I'm allowing myself to make that promise with. The Bible says, how can two walk together unless they agree? If that person isn't the best representation of myself or a self-reflection of who I am, I probably shouldn't walk with them. That's in friendship, that's in relationships, and different things like that. Like, why would I want to walk with somebody that always let me down, let go, or give me false hope? It doesn't give me anything to hold on to become tangible, to make it to something else.
That's why you have to look at how they say credit worthiness. What's your promise worthiness? What's your promise credit score? Do you need a cosigner? Can I approve you for this promise to believe that it will come forth? Or will I have to say you were denied?
Can somebody refer you for the promise?
Right. Wow. What is your promise credit score? Like, what's your score with your promises?
What is your score with your promises? So that is definitely some food for thought. That's something that we should self-reflect on. What is your score with your promises? Whether it comes to your children, anything. Make sure that you reach out to us. Comment below, even if you're watching this video later and it was just recorded. Comment below. Let us know what your promises are. Let us know about broken promises or different type of promises that you dealt with. And also, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from our audience. What would you like for us to talk about on Truth Talks? Again, what is our mission statement? What is our mission, Coach Ra?
Well, our mission, let me pull it up for you one more time. All right. So once again, the mission for Truth Talks is an open dialogue of real life situations, helping you to overcome obstacles that come to leave you feeling stuck, hinder your growth. This is an open forum free of judgment and bias. We are here to promote healing and growth in order for you to move forward into your destiny.
So I'm pretty sure with what we talked about today when it comes to promises, that this is something that you can reflect upon yourself. You can add some great things that we talked about here to your life, or even think about what was said in order to get to your destiny. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to stray off the path of what God has for us by breaking promises or going on paths that are promises for other people, because we don't have the self-promise of knowing who self is with the promise.
Right. So true.
Take that. So again, so glad to have you here today. So glad that you were here today. Again, don't forget to reach down in the comments below. Make some comments about promises. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you want us to talk about next time. And think about those promises you make, spoken, unspoken, and shallow. We might as well not even make a shallow promise.
Right. Please don't.
All right. So again, this is True Talks. We'll talk to you next month. Remember, join us every second Tuesday of the month at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Talk to you later. This is Shayna, which is the Family Life Coach. And this is
Coach Ra, your empowerment and life purpose coach.
Talk to y'all. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us.
Good evening and welcome to Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, we encourage, and we empower people to live a healthier lifestyle. So this evening, or the purpose, let me go about the purpose of this podcast, is to provide workshops, speakers, and guests who are just ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their life. And they have affected quite a few people's lives along the way. And I think that they have stories that need to be told when I have a guest on. However, I do workshops. I had a workshop also with three of my guests who have done crafts, and the crafts, all three of the crafts was different. So I try to provide things where um, it's very helpful in all of those areas: physical, mental, emotional, social, as well as financial. All of those areas, because it's all of those areas, the whole being of the person, and one is not good without the other. So sometimes there's going to be some ups and downs in those areas, but I try to provide knowledge, and I don't know everything. So I sometimes I have guests on and to expound on things. And though my name is Anna, and I forgot to tell you that, and I am a retired school teacher. And even though I'm a retired school teacher, I don't know everything. So, and I found that, well, I knew that out, but I think it became more prevalent to me when my mother was ill, and she had dementia. And I swear to God that I was in my 50s or maybe 60s before I really knew anything about that. And so I figured that since I didn't know, other people didn't know. And so being the teacher in me, I felt like that was my calling, and that I needed to get out and provide information to other people as well. And so that is what I'm doing. And the podcast basically kind of fell into my lap. You know, my mother always said, you just don't ever know, um, who's going to affect your life. And so in my life, I've been able to meet quite a few people, and someone reached out to me to be a part of the CTR Media Network. And I just want you to know that the CTR Media Network reaches over 350 million uh, uh, listeners, as well as 100 million households. So it is a well-known, and I'm so proud of the owner because it is Black owned as well. So as we go, I just want to, so I've been talking about a whole lot of things since the beginning of the year. We talked about goals and all of those things. So for the month of September and August, I thought I would talk a little bit about school, since everyone was going back to school this time of the year. Some of them have already started. And then I wanted to talk about the different types of schools. So I kind of broke it down to all of the different types of schools. And really and truly, I didn't know it was that many private and public schools. Okay, it's quite a few. And then I talked about the daycares as a little bit, the different varieties. And there is quite a few varieties as well in the field of early childhood education. And it's always good to know these things because you really want the best fit for your child. So before I begin, because I have a very special guest for you all this evening, But before I begin, let me do a few little housekeeping here. This is for my Facebook people. So you know that you can support me by sending stars, and stars help me earn money to make more content as well. Now I do come out of this. These are my this is my website. I'm going to show you my website here real quick, and it's a bit. So this is where you can go if you want, and it has my sponsorship programs there, as well as if you want to be a guest on my program, you can go there and do that. But you can also email me, and then this is my email. So if you want to email me about any questions that you might have or anything like that, that's prevalent to being on Sweet Blessings, because you might have some sweet blessings that you would like the world to know about. I just asked, I'm going to put this up here too, because I always ask for people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That is the channel that I'm really trying to, I'm trying to build them all, but that one is the newest one. I'm not really up on YouTube, and so I'm trying to build my audience. I'm doing pretty well with it. With that, but if you could just subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I'm also on Facebook. I do Facebook Lives 3 times a week. Basically, those lives are with my other business, which is I'm a jury consultant. I'm also an educational consultant. I'm an author as well. So, and I do health. I multitask at you all, as most of you all basically know. I am also on Instagram, but I only do lives on Instagram once a week. Okay, I do that as well. There's some other things that I want to do, but sometimes you just cannot find the time in the day. You just can't find the time in the day to do all of those things. So hopefully this will give you things. So we're going to take a brief break, and then when I come back, I am going to introduce you to our guest, our special guest tonight, and she is Janice Bell Martin. She is the founder and CEO of Undercarry Learning Centers. All right, we'll be right back, y'all.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Well, we are back, and I am going to, this is my Janice, and I'm going to bring her onto the platform in just a few moments and have her introduce herself. And she is going to tell us about, before I introduce her, I want to tell you my story with her, because we go way back. And I told you that I'm an educational consultant, and so her daycare is one of the first daycares that I mentored for the state, and I'm gonna tell you, it was in 2004, and she has come I'm so proud. I'm proud of her. I'm just so proud and honored that she would consider coming on, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her journey. She is a religious person, a family person. She's awesome, you all. And so without further ado, I am going to bring on Miss Martin. Hold on. So, good evening and welcome. Glad to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've told them just a little bit about my story, as far as how I know you. But tell us a little bit about you as a person first.
Okay. Yeah, those years went really fast. They went fast when you say it that way. But I'll start. I am married. I've been married now. We just celebrated 36 years to my husband, Derek, and I have one daughter. I am next to the youngest. I have 7 siblings, 4 brothers, 3 sisters. I'm next to the baby. I grew up on the south side of Chicago and with a 2-parent household. I always tell everybody I'm a daddy's girl. My father passed away in 99. God bless his soul. But he was right there when we first started our business in 1996 when we opened officially. We actually started in our home, my husband and I.
Mm-hmm.
And my family has been part of this journey, all the way through. I've always had family working with me, working beside me, along with my husband, working a full-time job to help pay the bills when the business struggled.
Right.
I always tell everybody the first 5 years we made no money. We just put it all back in. But it's been worth the journey. It really is. We've been tremendously blessed to be able to still be in business when so many other, childcare facilities have shut down or chose to go out of business because it's a difficult thing. But I'm enjoying the ride.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the ride.
Okay. Now, I know you said a lot of other daycares and stuff have closed, and you all have managed to stay open, but not only stay open but grow. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm curious as to what do you feel is your secret?
I think I named the center after my mother.
Okay.
And like I said, we grew up on the south side of Chicago. My parents, we had such a large family. Both my parents worked 2 jobs, but my mother always made time for the community. We joked a lot about we always got other kids in this house. She was always, if a child was in need or a family house caught on fire, or if we had a cousin that was moving here to go to school, or we used to joke, they under Carrie's care. Here come another, that family just knew Carrie would take care of them, and we just made it a joke. And so when I said I'm going to open the business, it was under Carrie's care because we were raised to just take care of everybody. And anybody who comes into our center or chooses to enroll, we want you to feel like you're family. And that's our push. And that's our goal, is to always feel like your family, somebody you can talk to about a problem, whether it's with the child care center or personal. We're going to try to help you. We're going to try to help you. We are not here to hurt or harm. We're here to help. So,
and I wanted to also say that that same quality that you all had in your upbringing, you can see that in your
that's my goal. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see the nurturing, and I always talk about you all and how proud I am of you all, because you all have undertaken. It's a hard task, and not only is it a hard task, but sometimes people's perception of daycares in the Black community are different. Okay. And it's important to me as an educator that people are aware that there are quality and developmentally appropriate practices going on in the Black community. Okay. So now I know you said that, I'm looking at your bio here. And it says that you spearheaded the growth from serving 23 students to currently being licensed to serve over 400. And
Yes.
you also have a new facility. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know it didn't happen overnight.
No, it didn't. But, you know, I was in banking. I worked in Northern Trust Bank for, I think, 12 years before I left. And when I left, I started tutoring at home. I was tutoring, and my aunt had a center in the city. I would go and volunteer, and I would help her, help students, and do things like that in my free time. And then I would come home and I would tutor. And it kind of went into after school care. And then, you know, a friend had a child, another friend had a child, until we had, like, I was taking care of like 10 kids in the home. And then my husband said, okay, that's enough. They got to pass over the house. And we left upon a small facility, and that's what we started. My intention was to stay that small facility because I enjoy spending that time with those children when they were in my home. We had breakfast, lunch, we had dinner. You know, it wasn't just a weekday; it was more like a family.
Mhm.
I need to go back a little bit. When I left the bank, I had a loss. I lost 2 sons, one with pneumonia and one had a heart defect. And so after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this business stuff anymore. I'm just going to stay home for a while. And then it kind of grew from there. And but I just believe in loving on everybody. So when we opened the small facility in 96. And we grew so fast. And then an opportunity came. The old post office closed up. And the guy that owned the post office building contacted me and asked if I wanted. And I was like, sure.
That's
so he
God.
worked out this wonderful deal with me because nobody was lending. and he let me pay him rent for 2 years and said, okay, I'll help you get a loan in 2 years. But I want you to give me a loan to pay me off in 2 years. And it worked out that I was able to do that. And so we went from that 23 on up to 74. And every few years, we grew up a little bit more and a little bit more. So this new facility, I went to rent classrooms. I did not go to buy. I was trying to make my life easier because I had went to 4 buildings, 4 directors, 4 different sets of staff. And it's difficult. It's really difficult to grasp the program and the people and try to make everybody move in the same direction. Because we hire because I want people that genuinely care about children. We don't get everything right every time, but every time a disappointed customer or client leaves, we learn from it. And then we don't want to make that mistake again. And I believe in that. And so if you're going to continue to make the same mistakes, you can't stay with us. This is not for you. And but with that said, this space, we were doing trainings. We had fathers events and fathers meetings. It was just too much in our little space. And then with us running. So I started trying to lease this space. They said no. Somebody else was getting it. Then that fell through, and another company was getting it, and that fell through, and another. And one Sunday, my attorney called and said, okay, the Archdiocese wants to know if you still want this property. And I was like, oh, yeah. I only wanted the classrooms. I didn't want 57,000 square feet. I just needed the classroom. She said, well, the kicker is you have to buy it. And I had no plans to buy that facility. But I was like, you know what? We're going to do it. Let's do it. Yeah. And I talked to my husband, and we were overwhelmed. But everything fell into place. Everything fell into place. We're still working in the facility, but the classrooms are going. And we're still working on the other. But all the little things I was doing in all the buildings, I can do it in this one facility now. The classrooms, the teen programs, the fathers programs, we can do it all and some. We're still working to get there, but it's coming.
Yeah, it is. And I'm impressed with that because you don't want to just you just don't want to be for the little kids. You want to be for the whole person.
The community.
Yeah, the community. And so I noticed because I visited recently, so that there was you got camps going on.
Yes.
there. And so is it from your students or from the students in the community?
It's both. It's students that come from the community and students who return for the summer, and they in different school districts now, but they return for the summer. This summer we had 93 students. I hired, we were able to hire 13 teams to work.
Oh, great.
Until we just didn't pay ourselves this whole summer from the well, actually from we had 4 grants, but we just didn't get anything. But once the children make 13, it's really not a lot to do in our community. And if the students come and say, well, I just want to volunteer, or the parent, I don't want them to sit at home all day. Well, we're going to try to find some space for you. Go on and do your, and they get the training. We train them, and it's on the job training. But you know what, Anna? It's funny that the students who came up through that program, they make the best camp leaders.
I know they do. I know.
They know what to do. They know the songs, and they know the line up, they know the tricks, and it's so funny to see it. Like, and they tell you, oh, Miss such and such taught me that a long time ago. So,
you think they're not learning, but they really are learning, and they really are listening and observing. Children can tell you, when the teacher's absent, the children can tell the substitute what's going on.
That's how it is.
We don't do it this way. You know how they are. They tell on. They're going to tell on. But I am so grateful. Now I know that you do. We're gonna break for a commercial, and then we're gonna come back. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
All right. Let's break for another little commercial. Now this one is an early childhood commercial, and I know you're gonna truly enjoy it.
Oh my goodness, the mailman came. I hope my sweet little thing cookies in here. I just hope it's in here. Let me see. Let me open this up. That's it. Sweet little thing cookies. That sweet little thing cookies. Oh, I'ma have me a ball now. Let me just get this right here. Little thing cookies. That sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I finally got my cookies. The sweet little thing cookies. Oh yeah. I'ma have fun. This package kind of big though. Man, I got a lot of cookies. Oh yeah, this the best day ever. I'm trying to tell you, I got my cookies, and I'm gonna eat these cookies, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. Wait, what?
Marie, what you doing, man? You can't have those cookies right now. I'm sorry, we about to eat dinner. Once we finish dinner, then you can have those cookies. Go ahead, put them up.
Are you serious, bro? I got sweet Lestain cookies, and now I gotta wait for dinner? Fine, can I at least look at the cookies? Thank you. Oh my goodness, I waited all this time now. I got to do all this. Fine. Oh yeah. I got my hands on some sweet Lestain cookies. But I can't eat them right now because bruh talking about I gotta wait to dinner. Okay, I'ma do that. But once I finish that, it's gonna be on, y'all. Wait a minute. Bruh talking about cooking some food. All this is a can of salmon and some frozen biscuit. Bruh cannot cook. I know he don't think I'ma eat this. Ain't no way. Bruh. Hey, bruh. Daddy. Where are you? You set me up, homie. You had me about to eat a can of salmon and some frozen biscuit. I'm not down with that. I want my sweet Lestain cookies. My sweet Lestain cookies. Carrot cook. Is
by the river in a little old tent. Just like that river, I was running ever since. Marie, hey man, it ain't what it, not what it think. I'm sorry. I was just gonna eat one cookie, but I ate them all. It's not my fault, Marie. I know better than this. You trying to set me up?
That is so cute.
Oh, Lord, that's some friends of mine made that for me for my
is so
cute. Business. I love it. I love it. It's got the puppets and everything because you know I really want to do things for everybody. So I want to have something for the children as well. So
that is cute. I want some cookies.
Would you want some cookies?
Yes.
Next time I pick some, I'll bring some. I'll bring some by. But I wanted to let the audience know you have won numerous awards. Could you tell us a little bit about some of those awards that you have won?
Okay.
Or been recognized for things that you have been recognized
well,
for.
one of the first big ones was the NACE accreditation, where we met and you helped us through that. You know, and I always tell everybody when you came out, and I'm such a stickler for every little thing, and you just finally said, Janice, you need to just stay out of it. You're never going to be accredited because I wanted everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
And you just said, no, it's not going to be perfect. You just strive to do better, and they want to see that you're working. And I had to step out of it because I was never satisfied with the way things were looking or appearing, and I know what I had in my plan. You know, I think TD Jake said you dreamed on something and you thought about it and it came to you in your sleep and you got up and you knew. Now you go try to tell somebody what you saw.
Right.
and it's hard. So I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, oh, it's perfect. I know what to do. And you don't get what you put, you know, because they didn't see that. So, but that was one, NACE, and we're really proud of that. Because at the time when we got it, I think it was only one other center that was in the south suburbs.
That's right.
And that was one of the larger corporations. So we were one of the first smaller business centers that, you know, community centers that did it. And I think it was like University of Chicago facility so it was somebody, you know, really large that we did it. And so thank you for that, because that kind of stepped us up and we kept moving from there. We were one of the first centers that were awarded the Preschool for All grant. We got 3 classrooms, and then that grew from there. So now we have 6 classrooms and another partnership with the school district. We were recognized by Tony Preckwinkle for a community center that for our outreach that we do with the community. And we were recognized by the Riverdale Park District and the Riverdale Mayor for that. We really are committed to our community. I work with our students, the family, and my staff. When you come and work for us, I want everybody to do better. I work to show my staff how to buy homes and how to invest in homes and how to invest, how to get retirement planning, how to so I do those kind of things in order to make them better, to help them and their families. So so we've been recognized. We have it was hard to say, Anna, because we were, you know, when you have a large family, everybody keeps you in your place, and it's kind of like, well, all those pieces of paper mean nothing. You still got work to do.
I know. That's what I tell people about your degree. Your degree is just a piece of paper. I said, you know, it's about what's in your heart.
Yeah,
it really is what's you know in your heart. But I can remember, and I'm gonna tell this story. I know you might not remember, but I can remember Janice coming to me and saying that the mayor, I think it was the mayor then, wanted to know what she was doing with the children because they were coming to the regular school, the public school, and they were so advanced. Okay, I remember you telling me that, and they wanted to come. They wanted to come and see. And so I want to talk a little bit about, since you kind of touched on it a little bit. I know that you're kind of in real estate.
Yes.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about that as well.
Okay. So yes, my husband and I are people call me a serial entrepreneur because I do a lot of reading and I do a lot of reading and I like to learn all types of things. But our first home was a fixer-upper. And then we sold that home and that got us off on that start. So we at one time I had as many as 32 tenants. But my husband is a licensed contractor and he kind of does some of everything from plumbing to we tell him he can fix it, he has certification in automotive. He licensed to install heating and air systems. So that's why this big project was kind of good for him. But I enjoy it. I enjoy going to auctions, buying properties. I enjoy the work. I don't do as much on my knees as I used to, but it was usually just he and I fixing up the houses. And so I'm used to flooring and painting and patching walls. I'm
just wondering why I am just not hearing about all this.
Yeah, I do all of those things. Now, I don't have to do them anymore because my knees are bad and I can't get them lighting anymore. I got these spots, I'm crawling on them all the time. But no, we've done that. And my mom and one of my sisters, we partnered in a business also, and we also purchased property. So my husband and I had properties, and my mom, I was also in the corporation with my mom and my sister, and we also did the same thing.
Okay, that's interesting. That would be a nice little topic to maybe, other people might be interested in learning, how to go about that. Because I'm all about Black entrepreneurship and, Black supporting each other in our businesses and things like that. So that might be, and I just feel like we need, I think we could do better if we knew.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's my thing.
Yes.
And so that is one of the main reasons for this podcast, because I want to try to get the information.
And that's one of the things we want to do with the new space. When we finish the other side, which we call Legacy, when we finish that, we do want to go back and do credit repair. I have a community partnership with Chase Bank, and we have a guy that comes out and work with parents. But we want to start having more classes for that credit repair, and just sitting with the people, showing them how to do it. I don't think people intentionally, get their credit messed up. It's just you get caught up and things happen.
Yeah, you do.
But you need someone, and sometimes people just need you to hold their hand through their process. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy it. So
they don't know what to do or how to go about to do it,
and you feel defeated. And But I have in the years we just celebrated 26 or 20. I think it's 26 years. But I've had about maybe 8 employees that we taught how to buy their homes and do the credit. It hasn't been as many as I like, but we've done that, and I do want to do more of that. I do want to do more of that.
Well, that's a good thing. It doesn't matter how many. If you just reach one person, to me, that's a improvement, because that person will improve, and then in turn, it's like a trickle. You know what I'm saying? It's like a trickle. So I am just I'm thrilled. I'm just really thrilled to hear that. Now we are going to take one more commercial break.
Don't show me any cookies, because I'm on some cookies.
Well, this one is not on cookies, but but it's a little different. All of my commercials are different. So here we go.
The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is a magazine that embraces and celebrates the entire homeschooling experience. Our magazine is different from all the rest because we provide beneficial information and assistance in homeschooling, business, wellness, mental health, resources, and life. We encourage you to pick up a copy of our magazine today on Amazon.com by simply searching the Homeschooling Interactive Magazine. The Homeschooling Interactive Magazine is all about impacting the world through home-based learning, helping to de-stress the homeschooling experience. Get your copy from Amazon today.
Alrighty, we are back. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, let me see, I wrote it down. And you can tell the audience what it means, because sometimes I get the acronyms of the letters.
Oh, okay.
Switched around, but BCDI.
Okay.
It is an organization. She's going to tell you what those stand for. I do know what each one of them, I think I do, but sometimes I mess up. So would you tell them about that, how it got started, and what actually do you all do?
Okay, I'm happy to share that. That's BCDI. That's Black Child Development Institute, but it's part of a national organization, which is the National Black Child Development Institute. I'm a part of the Chicago affiliate. I'm the secretary, and I've been the secretary, I want to say 8 years now for the Chicago affiliate. Our president is Sharifa Walton. And they have been active. This has been a national organization. We're celebrating 52 years this year. We have a conference every year, national conference every year. This year, we're going to be in Charlotte. What the organization does is provide education surrounded around literacy and health and well-being for Black families, Black and brown families. They primarily focus on serving those families that have children age 0 through 3rd grade. We do provide books, free books, do back to school drives. We do an activity that we do with families. It's I think a 6-week project, and I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it's to help families learn how to work with your children at home. And you have a session, they have to commit every Saturday. And it was a Zoom, this last one was a Zoom. Mm-hmm. And the parents get an award at the end of it, but they interact with one another and just share how they're going to work with their child, what their child needs. And the parents really share and help each other. So we have another one that's Read to Succeed. Read to Succeed is like a lending library. Years ago, the kids had a bag of books. Mm-hmm. Come and get the books. They take there's about 10 books in the bag. They keep that bag for like 10 days. Then they come back and change another bag. But it's allowing the parents to commit to reading with the children. Mm-hmm. We have a laundry cares program where you put books in the laundromat. They can come and get the books, and just their children are there with the parents. Gives them something to do, and the parents can read to them. And I stand behind that. I like that it's an organization that's surrounding parent involvement, children involvement, and reading and literacy. Reading takes you everywhere. And I love reading. I read kind of some of everything. I read, and I have a stack of books by my bed. I still haven't got through, but everybody knows it. Like, what would you like for the gift? I have a book back for me because I'll get to it. One day I'll get to it. But it's a great organization. We have a lot of support from legislators. We had a legislative breakfast 2 Saturdays ago, and we had about maybe 5 legislators from Illinois that came. Mm-hmm. We had one of the national representatives that spoke. But it's a lot of stars that's involved, different movie stars. One year I was at the conference, and I don't know if you all remember the movie TV show, Man Called Hawk. He was there, and I was sitting next to this man, and I was like, I know you from somewhere. He was so funny. But when you have the national conference, literally, the stars, the legislators, Congress people, different funders, philanthropists there walking around because all of these people care about our children. And it just fills your heart to see that many of us speaking and communicating, saying what we can do for our kids. This last year, they were talking about the CARES Act, the Crown Act. Crown Act was a big push because so many children, our children, were being discriminated at school about the hair. Their locks.